Hello, another Yanagashita stream. Yeah, I hope so. I sure hope he shows up again. So, we're back to a 428 Shibuya Scramble, and I was actually wrong last time. I believe last time I was like, 1500 to 1600. I was like, oh, this should be like third to the last. Okay, I was wrong. I checked real quick a game FAQ's like table. Like, I didn't look at what happens, I just looked at a table of contents. This is the third to the last for real this time. So third to the last is this one, 1600 to 1700, and then there's 1700 to 1800, which is like the second to the last, and then the last one is like 2 hours, so it's like 1800 to 2000, I think. So we still got a ways to go, but we're at least more than halfway through the game, I'm sure, because we started at 10 a.m. So this is big progress. We do be at 4 p.m. Still quite a long game. Yeah, it is. I can't believe it. I'd say, like, if we can finish like the 1 hour ones, like this one and the next one, if we can finish those in one stream each, then I don't know about the 2 hour one though. It might have to be 2. Depends on how long the final time block is, but I'm gonna assume it's pretty long, given that it's 2 hours and then it's the finale already. It's probably gonna end up being like finale part 1, finale part 2 when we stream it. But yeah, okay. So quick recap. What happened last time is, okay, Osawa wasn't really doing much last time. He was just kind of like relaxing and finally kind of opening up, emotionally developing as a character, and he's like confiding in Kajiwara as well. And then he hears about the blue minivan explosion and that Tanaka is the deceased inside, and he's panicking because they said that Maria has the UA virus, and Tanaka was like the only way in. Like him and Tanaka combined, because they both had a password and they both had a fingerprint thing. So without Tanaka, they won't be able to get to the antiviral that can cure Maria. Okay. On Maria's end, she was cornered by the guy with the cane, but then like he lets her go because he realizes she's the wrong twin, and then after he lets her go, she runs into Yanagashita for a brief moment, right? If I remember right, they talked a bit, and then like after that, she starts wandering around, and then she sees the blue minivan explode, and then she gets a flashback about possibly like some time she spent with Keinan, and then she gets caught again by the man with the cane, and he says he's gonna hold her hostage to lure out Hitomi. On Achi's end, Keinan just kind of gave like a bit of insight, like, oh, Maria knew you were gonna get kidnapped at the party, he told me, that's why she told you not to go. But I gave her a GPS thingy, but then it's not turned on. Anyways, the mastermind's name, I forgot it, I'm sorry. I'll remember it when I see it, but it was a foreign name, okay? She gives us the mastermind's name, and they go to like the surveillance camera room of his dad, and they end up finding the blue minivan. Thanks also to Tanaka, who texted it. And when they find the van, it explodes. And Hitomi was caught in the explosion, but Keinan rescued her, so she was knocked out. And that was the end for Achi there. He took her away. For Kano... Okay, where did he start? Okay, Kano, Sasayama got taken into... ambulance. We're not yet sure how he is doing. He's in critical condition. Alcarawan was arrested, and then they come across the blue minivan's explosion, and then he gets a new development wherein it's like Maria is set free, but she has the UA virus, and we have to find her because she only has a few hours left before it becomes like a... How do I say it? Before it becomes like a problem, because then like everybody else could get infected and everyone in Shibuya might die. And then Kano also briefly met with Shizuo, but Rumi wasn't there because she had to do something. They had a pretty touching heart-to-heart thingy, and he earned Shizuo's respect, and Shizuo like he ended up opening up to little Kano here and giving him some advice. And then Kano is now like, I have to do something now. I'm not gonna stay on standby. And then Minorikawa is the last one. So Minorikawa finished his interview and then he was going to write his papers and his articles, but then Yanagashida took his laptop and ran off with it. So he chased after him. He got his laptop back and then he realized he's running out of time. But he ran into Miku, who was kind of having like a crisis because she lost to Maria earlier in the day. She's like, please show me a dojo that can teach me this. But then Minorikawa goes like, nah, I'm busy. I can't do this. Just do something else. And that hurts her feelings. But he runs after her because she runs away. And then he gets like caught in the explosion of the minivan, but he's not... It took us a while to get him out of it, but like he's basically in the area when it explodes. And he heard the ringtone when it exploded, and that's what he told Kano. And then he tailed Kano and overheard a little bit about the situation. And he has some great material now, and he's off. He was off to go do something. Like, I believe he was off to go write it, and he was like, oh, this is a major scoop. But then he got a call, and then he's being told that Toyama was in the blue minivan and it was suicide, but we know that shouldn't be true. Okay, that was a lot, but I believe we should start either these two. No, you know what? I want to know what Kano's up to. Kano decided that he's not gonna stick around and just wait for something to happen or wait for developments. So let's see what he's gonna do. It's kind of unknown to me right now. Arriving back at the Shibuya precinct, Kano hurried to the interrogation room. With the investigation currently on hold, he knew that taking any official action would be tricky. If he was gonna break through this stalemate, he was going to need Tateno's help. The abduction, the ransom, the Itachi case relay, Maria's release, and then Tanaka's death. Maybe Tateno would be able to figure out how these elements were all related. But first, Kano needed to check something for himself. Tateno would never have let Alcarawan go free. Kano needed the prisoner to set the record straight. Oh, okay, so he's going for an interrogation. Alcarawan sat in the precinct interrogation room, looking brazen and cocksure. One glance at his face and Kano was reminded of what had happened to Sasayama. His fresh anger smoldered at the edges of his mind. There were two detectives already in the room. It seems like he wasn't made privy to the details, one of them told Kano. Sounds like they were following orders carrying the Itachi case around, the other added. Kano sat across from Alcarawan. Now there's three of them, okay. There's something I'd like to ask you, he said. We were just paid to do a job. I don't know anything more than that. His Japanese was imperfect, but he understood the language well enough. Tell me, how did you manage to escape from Detective Tateno? Escape? I didn't. A faint smile came to Alcarawan's lips. You let me go free. Liar! Detective Tateno would never do that. Kano slammed the desk with his fist. I didn't have handcuffs on, did I? He took them off for me. This had to be a lie. It's not like there weren't other ways to remove a pair of handcuffs. For some reason, what I imagined was him like just breaking it by like pulling his arms across like like he's so macho. I don't know why that's what I thought of. After he took off the handcuffs, Alcarawan continued, he pointed his gun at me. Cut the crap. Oh my god, they're holding him back. What? This is just like in like Filipino dramas. When someone's going to like sugod. Oh, when someone's going to, I'm thinking of the word in English. I'm gonna say sugod, but when someone's gonna charge at someone else in a fight, there's always someone else there, like a friend or someone they know, to hold them back. That's what's happening right now. I can't believe it. Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. But Alcarawan went on, unperturbed. He kept the gun pointed at me, but he didn't pull the trigger, so that's when I ran. Why would Detective Tateno want to shoot you? Because I saw him. Saw him? Saw him do what? Let me tell you something interesting, Al-Karawan said sardonically. I actually don't know that word. There was that girl who was carrying the ransom, right? Kano pictured Hitomi, standing anxiously beside the statue of Hachiko. That guy Tateno was trying to kill her. Oh, so is the guy with the cane Tateno? In a fit of rage, Kano drove his fist into Al-Karawan's face. His colleagues rushed to interpose themselves. Kano, calm down! Knocked to the floor, Al-Karawan gingerly fingered his split lip. And after I gave you such good info too, he grumbled. Detective Tateno was assigned to protect Hitomi Osawa, Kano shouted. You can't expect me to believe you're rubbish. He lunged around the table, ready to throw another punch, but his fellow detectives held him back. Al-Karawan looked away indifferently. It's your Detective Tateno you should be arresting, not me. That girl's going to get killed. You need to step in line, pal, Kano bellowed. Kano! His colleague shouted. You're the one who needs to step in line. Go and cool off for a bit. And he really did. He got expelled from the interrogation room. Okay, of course. Kano immediately pulled out his cell phone and called Tateno's number. Oh, please pick up. He clutched his phone tight, pleading under his breath. But Tateno didn't answer. Dang. Interesting though if Tateno's the guy with the cane. It'll explain why he was gone all the time. He was always chasing after Hitomi and Achi. Kano sat down in a chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found himself holding the present Sasayama had gotten for his wife. Oh no, I just remembered he gave that to you. I have to do something. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. This restlessness gnawed at him like a rabid animal. Hey, Kano. He looked up to see Kuze. Kuze? I really can't read his name without imagining it. Standing beside him, his expression grave. I have an update on Sasayama, the director began. Oh no! Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. It seems the knife went deep enough to do some organ damage. He's in critical condition. What the fuck, man? We knew that! We knew he was in critical condition. I see. Kano bit his lip hard. His handkerchief, red with Sasayama's blood, clung to the wrapping paper of Sasayama's present. Kano peeled it away carefully so as not to tear the paper underneath. What's that? Asked Kuze. Sasayama had me hold on to this for him. It's a present for his wife. Ah, I see. I'm sorry, Director Kuze, for ignoring your orders. Kano's eyes remained fixed on the gift as he spoke. When you get down to it, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me. Some kind of punishment was surely headed his way for acting alone as he had. He probably wasn't getting out of this one with some simple written apology. For sure. But Kuze calmly shook his head. What happened to Sasayama isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, he said. As far as this case goes, I've been given quite the runaround myself. There was a rare note of vulnerability in Kuze's voice. Oh my gosh, the fact that they actually used he said, it just reminded me of another thing I saw on Twitter. Because some people were like, I think they had like a thing where it's like, why can't authors just write he said or she said or something as like a sentence ender when someone said something, and then it just got longer and longer with super long descriptions and completely roundabout ways to ultimately just say said. The higher-ups have barely let any information trickle my way, but they're still ordering me around non-stop. It's a real pain in the ass. Kuze fell silent, ruminating. The quiet lingered between the two men for several moments before he abruptly spoke again. Oh, right. I'd like to get your opinion on something. So, Mamoru Tanaka, who we found in a minivan, you know? What you think? Should we oughta maybe release his name to the media? Kuze had slipped into his childish register. He was clearly exhausted. Okay, after dealing with the kidnapper's baffling actions and too much meddling from the higher-ups, even a veteran like Kuze is just beat. But that's not the only reason for his exhaustion. Kuze has a brother, 6 years his senior, who, despite being nominally mature, refuses to get a real job and shows no inclination to settle down with a family. He walks around town day after day, dressed like a hippie and treating passers-by to songs he's written. Kuze's now been worrying about his shiftless brother for years, and the guy has become a chronic source of consternation. Kano was thrown by the question. It was a rare thing for the director to seek an opinion from a mere junior detective. Feels like there's something not too normal about one of Kenji Osawa's subordinates dying, Kuze went on. Kano had the same thought. This felt too intentional to be a coincidence. So here's the question. Should I get the media involved, or should I try to rush for a resolution? Or should I be more cautious? What would you do? About releasing the name? Kano asked. This wasn't such a simple thing to answer. There were so many factors to consider. A tired smile came to Kuze's face. Don't think about it so hard. This is just so I have a point of reference. Tell me what your gut says. This is a rough one. I just remembered the mastermind's name is Alphard. This is so completely random. Got nothing to do with it. Oh my god, I remembered the mastermind's name. Well, we can take a chance. I don't know what is gonna change, though. Like, hopefully the media's not gonna get in our way, though. No, wait! Yes! Releasing the name. If he actually releases the name, then that will confirm that Toyama didn't fucking die, right? Now that I'm trying to connect it to the other protagonist, that means Minorikawa is not gonna have a moment. So we should release the name. Yeah, I think it's alright. There was still a lot they didn't know about Tanaka. The fact that the final stop for the ransom relay was Tanaka's condo implied some sort of connection between him and the kidnappers. But they still had no idea for what his role in the abduction might have been. They also didn't have any motive for why Tanaka would be helping the kidnappers in the first place. By sharing some of what they did know with the public, they might be able to garner some new leads. You'd release the name? Alright then. Without another word, Kuze headed back towards the conference room. And it immediately released. Okay then. Oh no, okay. It's still going on, so it was already playing. On the TV, the governor's press conference was still going on. I've requested that each of the railroad companies, starting with JR, stop running trains to Shibuya Station until further notice. As far as the roads go, Route 246 has been already closed to traffic. The executive looked pale as he spoke to the crowd. Is there any possibility of a bioterrorist attack? What about the people who are still in Shibuya? Reporters unleashed a barrage of questions. The governor's face scrunched up. As I've already made it clear, this is not a complete blockade. Okay, because modern Japan does not have a system for enacting martial law. There are a few ways that the government could effectively quarantine Shibuya. In the case of a potential viral infection, the infectious disease law allows for the city to be partitioned into areas of restricted movement. If the authorities do not want to acknowledge the existence of the top-secret UA virus, however, taking such an action would be rather tricky legally. Oh. There's nothing to stop anyone from leaving Shibuya on foot. Isn't what you're describing de facto martial law? Spat one reporter. Of course not, the governor snapped. You should be well aware that martial law is illegal. I couldn't declare it even if I wanted to. If you wanted to. So this is a bioterrorist issue then. I never said anything of the sort. Man, it's such a hard position to be in. The press conference was devolving into chaos. Kana was unsurprised given the circumstances. Still, everyone was doing their best insofar as they know. So why not me? Kano thought. It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to be doing something. Just letting time tick by without trying to take action was more than he could bear. Kano began to worry about Rumi and gave her a call, was worried about Sasayama and decided to visit the hospital, thought about Sasayama's wife and thought to get in touch with her. I don't know if Rumi is the right choice. I Kano would visit Sasayama in the hospital, but I'm worried that he's just like he's just gonna be unable to see him, right? Because he's in critical condition. He might be in like the ICU and then they're like, don't visit him yet or something. Let's try Sasayama's wife and decide to get in touch with her. Called Sasayama's home phone, but nobody picked up. Perhaps she'd gone to the hospital? With that in mind, Kano called up Shibuya Central Hospital and asked them to transfer him to Mrs. Sasayama. Oh. After a little while, a woman's voice came through the receiver. Yes, this is Mrs. Sasayama. Her voice was thin and reedy. My name's Shinya Kano. I work with your husband on the course. What happened? He didn't know what to say. He couldn't find the words. I wish that I'd been there when he'd gone to make that arrest. He blurted out at last. I should have tried to get there and back him up sooner. If I hadn't been too late. He trailed off, hoping he hadn't said too much. Sasayama's wife answered in her gentle, quavering voice. Thank you so much for your concern. I'm glad that my husband is lucky enough to have a colleague like you. No, I couldn't. I married a detective, Mr. Kano. I've prepared myself for the possibility that something like this might happen. She certainly didn't sound like she was prepared. Kano felt a biting pain in his chest. Your husband gave me something to hold on for you. I'd like to give it to you if I can. Oh? Well, certainly, but I'd like to stay here by his side today if possible. Of course. I'll head on over to the hospital myself then. I hope you don't mind if I pay a visit. Oh, of course not. Sorry to trouble you like this. Thank you so much. Kano hung up, then hurried out of the precinct. Okay, so ultimately we still ended up at the hospital. That's fine. Oh, wait! As he was making his way towards the hospital, Kano spotted a girl sitting on the pedestrian overpass. She looked like she was on the verge of tears. Concerned, he stopped beside her. Are you waiting for someone? He asked. The girl simply bit her lip and said nothing. Are you lost? Do you need a policeman? Again, the girl gave no answer. Where did you come from? Kano tried. Still nothing. He had just decided to go and call for a female officer when the girl hesitatingly spoke at last. Heaven Publishing. After a little coaxing, she told him where that was. It turned out it was on the way to Shibuya Central Hospital, not too far from where they were now. She forgetting what a policeman is, checking terminology real quick. No. I'm checking all of the terminology so it gets logged in my, like, in-game thingy. Because I think there's, like, an achievement for getting all of them. Why don't I take you there then, Kano said. I'm already headed in that direction anyway. The girl seemed a bit reluctant at first, but eventually agreed to go with Kano. Kano parted ways with the girl outside the building where Heaven Publishing was located. You're telling me this is the first time policemen showed up in the game? Yeah, for real. Where's Sayama Lo? He's not dead. I know, right? I don't know where he is. I'm not buying it. Believe it or not, it is. Because they kept using detective. Because, like, well, from the quick glance that I saw, I don't really read it unless it's labeled, like, 428. Or it's something, like, I didn't really know. Because, like, if it's 428, then it's, like, exclusive to the game. If it's not labeled 428, then it's just the general meaning of the word. They keep using detective. And policeman and detective are different. I mean, they both work for the police, but, like, they're different ranks. Okay, so he parted ways with the girl outside the building where Heaven Publishing was located. He noticed that she hesitated to enter at first, but eventually vanished inside. Okay. What the fuck happened to Toyama? He was literally with her. Toyama was literally with her last time we saw him. It's weird. Kano's phone rang as he was about to continue on his way. Tomato, man. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. There was Tateno's name. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call. Detective Tateno? Oh my god. Detective Tateno reveal, is he really the guy with the cane? Is that you? There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had he been doing this whole time? Why had he let Al Karawan go free? and what happened to Hitomi. But he was trying to decide what to question. While he was trying to decide which question to pose first, Tateno spoke. I've secured Maria Osawa. What? Okay, he really is the guy with the cane then. Sir, have you been chasing Achi for 5 hours? Yeah, for real. Word came out as soon as a startled gasp. Detective Tateno, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now, she's... Tateno cut him off. You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Kano be like, but I don't know where Hitomi Osawa is. Hitomi Osawa? Yes. I heard over the wireless that the man from the US Embassy had her in custody. Wait, what? Seriously? Kano hadn't been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently, Stanley managed to find Hitomi. But what was Tateno getting at here? Wait. Hold on. What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Hitomi Osawa to you? There was no reply. Detective Tateno, answer me. Please. Tateno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions. There's an office building in Nanpedai called South Hill. I'll be waiting there for you on the rooftop. Why is that giving me Millennium Tower rooftop flashbacks? If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Are you serious? With that grisly warning, he hung up. She'd be like, secured. I don't know what that means. It's not in the game's glossary. No! My vocab isn't that low. Kano's hand went limp. His phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. Is this a keep out? No, it's still going. Kano went to South Hill in Nanpedai alone. Well, we don't fucking have... The building takes its name as a rough translation of Nanpedai. The name of the area is where it's located. The official name is South Hill Building, but since this is awkward to say, it's frequently shortened. Okay. Grizzly, like the animal. Oh no! Every game ends in Millennium Tower. It has to. It's basically required. He hadn't brought Hitomi as Tateno had demanded, nor had he reported the situation to Kuze. First, he wanted to meet with Tateno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. I feel like this is going to a bad ending, because we don't have Hitomi. As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Tateno might want with Hitomi. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead-up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Tateno had seemed like the same man Kano had always revered. So, why was he doing this? I really can't tell. Kano couldn't think of a reason, me too. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out into the open roof. Just pretend to be Hitomi, cosplay and makeup go a long way. I mean, Kano's got hair long enough for it, you know? Hitomi's hair is only like shoulder length, right? The time for half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would have to lay his doubts at Tateno's feet. Then, soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. He took a look around, but saw no sign of Tateno. Detective Tateno, where are you? Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times. It's Kano! I've come as you've asked. Where's Hitomi Osawa? Kano whirled around when he heard the voice behind him. Yeah, he really is the guy with the cane, Tateno. What the hell, man? Tateno stepped into view from behind a water tank. Well, this explains his... like, why he was nearby. That's a development for real. Maria, why are you just letting this happen? Okay, bound. Okay, that's why. She can't fight back. He led a young woman, bound and blindfolded. Why didn't you bring her? He growled. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? Okay, that is for a jump, but not yet. Don't have it yet. Tateno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. That's not Maria, it's someone cosplaying as Maria. Cosplay. With her blindfold removed, Maria slowly opened her eyes. Then, as she gazed past Kano, a panic look crossed her face. Ah! She shot her arm out to point. Yo, Minorika, what the fuck are you doing? Everyone is getting distracted by you. Kano whirled around in surprise. There was a man on the roof of the building across the way who looked like he was getting ready to jump. Why now? Kano thought to himself, but he couldn't just stand idly by while someone committed suicide. He felt a pang of disgust when he saw Tateno take in the situation with an indifferent glance, but he make no move to help. Detective Tateno, I'll be right back, Kano exclaimed. We can finish this after. Without waiting for an answer, he raced to the other building. Are you serious? What the fuck, man? Bro actually just abandoned Maria. Seeing this photo, I'm sure Minorika... This is just because Minorika was taking a smoke, man. He's completely fine. When he got to the second rooftop, the man was still there, staring at the ground below. Don't do anything rash, Kano warned, hurrying towards him. When the man gave no response, though, Kano quickly halted. The stranger was still several meters away. Kano braced himself, ready to lunge for the man if necessary. Let's not be hasty. Nobody's gonna be happy if you jump. Still, the man said nothing. I can't. I don't think he is Kano. I think he's seriously just standing here. I think he was having a smoke break from what it looks like. He goes to the other building, looks over, and Maria's brains all over. Yeah, you just abandoned Maria with a gun pointed at her head. Because you thought Minorikawa was gonna jump. Are you kidding me? Still, the man said nothing, simply gazing at the sky. Surely he could hear Kano now. The detective continued, keeping his voice low and conversational. I've got a co-worker. He's one of the most absurdly devoted husbands you can meet. All he does is brag about his wife. The man continued to ignore him. He was stabbed in the belly earlier today. He's in the hospital right now on death's door. He was happy, but now his life might get snatched away from him anyway. Still, the man appeared unmoved. It was as if words weren't even reaching him. Don't you think it's a waste to just go and throw your own life away? Kano waited for the man to respond. Bro, let me enjoy this smoke. This man hearing the other guy having a great marriage to say, no. The stranger took a purposeful stride away from the fence, towards the roof's edge. Stop! Don't do it! The man unflinchingly stepped out towards empty air. No! Kano sprung forward, somehow managing to grab a hold of the stranger's wrist. He yanked the man back from the edge, getting only a blank stare in response. Don't go wasting your life like this! Ordinarily, Kano would have stayed and talked until he was sure this guy's death wish had passed. But there was no time for that right now. Maria was in just as much danger at this very moment. For real, though. Whipping out his handcuffs, he shackled the man to the fence! Ain't no way! What? Bro! What if this is a misunderstanding? What is even happening in this hour? I know, right? I commend Kano for trying, but what if this is a misunderstanding? Love the image of Kano running the background. For real. Comically running away after handcuffing Minorikawa to the fence. He goes back, Maria looks over another person about to jump. God damn it. That would be crazy. I promise I'll come back. Please, just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? Kano left the man staring in bewilderment. I seriously think it's a misunderstanding, and raced back to the South Hill building. Crazy how their buildings were right across from each other. Are you really surprised? Are you really surprised right now, Kano? Are you really surprised that they're gone? This is plot relevant somehow for real. When he got back to the roof, no one was there. Kano immediately tried to call Tateno on his cell, but the call didn't go through. Tateno must have powered off his phone. Damn it! Where did you go, detective? He needed to hear what Tateno had to say. Still, he had no idea what was going on or what the grim truth might be. This is the bad ending. And it seemed he just lost his chance to find out. In desperation, Kano rushed from the building. But in his frantic search of the area, he saw no sign of either Tateno or Maria. Later, a precinct-wide manhunt failed to discover where the two had gone. And everyone in Shibuya died. From that day forward, Kano was empty inside, carrying out his duties as a detective with bleak detachment. How did we not all die to the UA virus? Kano completely forgets to uncuff the man. Bruh! Lost sight of Maria and Tateno. It's probably... Make sure Minorikawa isn't there. It was Minorikawa. The parenthesis. If Minorikawa hadn't turned up on the rooftop, yeah, for real. Okay, let's go for Minorikawa then. Kano should have taken that happy ending with Rumi. Yeah, that wasn't such a bad ending. Come on, going farming with Rumi. It's not such a bad ending for Kano. How far did he even get? How far was that? 640? He was almost done with the hour. Bro neumed through this hour like it was nothing. It's because of it started at 05 and then it continued at like 20 already. Minorikawa, get the fuck off the roof. Why were you even there? Minorikawa needed to get back to the editing office right away, but despite the urgency, he barely stumbled along. He was swaying on his feet. I like this music in the background though. Only half aware of where he was even going. No. Oh, this is all some sick joke. He couldn't accept that Toyama was dead. I seriously doubt that. He let out a lifeless sigh. A cynical smile crept onto his face. The man did always insist on having his own way, but killing himself. Quite a lot of good tracks in this game, to be honest. Yeah. I would like just pull up their OST. If it's on Spotify, add it to my Spotify, you know. Now you gotta go save Toyama goes back for it. No, I swear Toyama should be alive. I swear this is a misunderstanding. This can't be real. It's another misunderstanding. Why? Everything with Minorikawa is a misunderstanding. Back when he was still a novice reporter, Minorikawa had written a piece about a middle school girl who'd committed suicide. The school had made a statement denying that the bullying had been a factor, and so most of the media reported that she had suffered a nervous breakdown over entrance exams. Okay, it's a regular nervous breakdown description. But something about the case had kept nagging at him. Had her death really been a suicide? The more people he interviewed about the incident, the more his doubts grew. Oh my gosh, isn't this like a... You saying the Toyama that died was a fake? The cosplay and Rega. The gag will never end. She's hello, Epoch. Actually, this line, I haven't watched it for myself, but this is reminding me of a K-drama, I believe. She's never heard of it. No! A K-drama, I think. I don't remember what it's called. And I haven't watched it for myself, but I believe that was actually the plot or something. Where it starts with a guy who supposedly, like, committed suicide in the school building. But the more they investigated it, like the police and some of his friends, I think. Or like his sibling, I think it was his sibling. The police and his sibling investigated it, and then like it was actually murder. Because it was like bullying, and then like they pushed him and then he fell or something. Like it was not suicide, it was like murder. I mean, if it was homicide, is that the correct word? Not murder, because murder is like you did it and you meant to do it. I think everybody thinks homicide sounds cooler, but people tend to think homicide sounds cooler, but murder is the more serious crime, if I remember right. Okay, there we go. I derailed for a while there. But the shoes were on the roof. Clearly no way to fabricate that. Definitely no way to fabricate it. The City News editor, however, could not allow him to conduct a follow-up investigation. And the reason why was simple. Murder. Yeah, I feel like it is. This was the sort of thing that happened every day. They couldn't waste time on a case that was already on the books. It was more important for a reporter to find new stories than to squander time engrossed in a case that was old news. Minorikawa understood the editor's decision well enough, but that didn't mean he had to like it. He'd been sulking up on the roof, slowly nursing a cigarette when a paper's local news copy editor, Toyama, happened to drop by. Did they say no to the follow-up interviews? Toyama asked. About that girl's suicide. Oh, okay, her name is Chiharu Fuyutsuki. After reading her diary, Minorikawa became convinced it wasn't an ordinary suicide. 6 years from now, Minorikawa will run into a certain teacher and the investigation into the student's death will be reopened, but that's another story for another time. Dang! What kind of person edits a copy? Yeah, Minorikawa expelled a plume of his smoke along with his sigh. Nothing quite tasted as bad as a cigarette when he was down in the dumps. So, what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna do anything, Minorikawa said. Editor told me no. Oh, editor said not to? You sound like a child. The rebuff made Minorikawa's temper flare. There are other interviews to do. I want to follow up on this, but there isn't any time. Oh, he just got socked! He just totally got punched! You dumbass! Toyama hauled off and hit him right across the face. What happened to I write what I feel in my heart? That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. What happened to the guy who used to bitch at me like that? Toyama's words hit their mark with painful precision. Toyama's such a Chad in the past? For real. The interviews aren't over until you have what you need. No, you refuse to let them be over. You go after the truth no matter what anyone tells you. Isn't that what being a journalist is about? Minorikawa scowled in chagrin. I don't know how to say it, but I know the word. The man was exactly right. Until you have what you need. Those words had stuck with Minorikawa ever since. In fact, he'd quit the paper to become a freelancer because he couldn't do his job the way he wanted while trapped in that hierarchy. If only chagrin was in the glossary entry with pronunciation. Now he wondered, what if Toyama hadn't killed himself, but had instead been a victim of a terrorist attack? But after considering the idea for a moment, he thought bitterly, so what? The reasons and the details hardly mattered at this point. What mattered was, Toyama was dead. I seriously doubt it. Come on, Minorikawa. Minorikawa sat down listlessly and stared up at the sky. A blank swath of blue made him feel all more worn out. Just what had all the days running around been for? He felt so empty, so hollowed out by loss. All his motivation had drained away. He had no idea what he should do next. Hey, Minoru Minorikawa, what should you do? He tried to listen to his inner voice. Maybe it's his passion, because he did chagrin. That's how it's pronounced. With the she being short E. Chagrin. Something like that, I guess. Kinda like Shenzhen. Okay. Thank you for the pronunciation guide. Don't go take a smoke break. I can't tell which one it is here. Let's try this, right? His passion? You've forgotten your passion. You need to get that back. Yeah. That was his only option, really. He needed to turn back the clock, to reclaim the fire that used to burn inside him, and he knew just how to do that. Before he could, however, a young man stumbled across his path, taking a nasty fall on the pavement. Ow! Oh, damn, that hurts. The youngster scrambled back to his feet and turned to Minorikawa with a snarl. Are you from... the thing? What were they called? Are you from the gang? What are you looking at, pal? The young man clutched a piece of timber like a club. There was a nasty gleam in his eyes. I'm not looking at anything, Minorikawa sighed. I just happened to be looking at your direction. Shut your yap! Apologize, bitch! Now! The punk raised his cudgel. What for? You tripped me, man! Ain't you gonna apologize for that? You bumped into me and now I broke my arm. Gotta pay for my medical bills. The kid had stumbled all on his own, but was probably too embarrassed to admit it. Guess he's gotta vent his anger at someone. Listen, kid, Minorikawa said. It's not my fault you're such a klutz. The hit franchise, the thing classic. The hell you say to me? You got a death wish, pal? With a murderous glare, the punk advanced on him, brandishing his weapon. Hey, Minorikawa said. Bring it on? Are you kidding me? Is he able to? I'd hand him money, but their arms busted to top block. Oh my gosh. She not knowing what a klutz despite being one. Alright. Bring it on. The face that he made! He didn't hesitate! The punk swung his wooden club without a moment's hesitation. It struck Minorikawa in the shoulder, knocking him off balance. Whoa, okay, don't really bring it on. Nah, man, it's too late for takebacks. I die. With a nasty little grin, the young fellow swung again and then again, catching Minorikawa in the arm and the side. Only when the journalist was curled up in a battered ball on the ground did the kid finally let up. Huh! Good to get a little warm-up in before I take down the other bitch. Weapon still in hand, the punk marched off towards Dogenzaka. What? If he dies now, he can't be on the roof. That's true. But I don't think we should have... Whoa, we got caught. Is this a police officer? Hey, are you okay? Oh no, it's the taxi driver! I knew it! I knew he looked familiar. Minorikawa stirred to find Kimizuka at his side. Once again, the man had impeccable timing. Do you need a ride somewhere, maybe, sir? The driver asked, keeping his tone polite. I'm dead! Yeah, I do. To the hospital? Yeah, for real! A policeman, good thing I know what that is now. For real. Back then! Yeah, I know I shouldn't have picked a fight. Not so confrontational. Yeah, I figure. Let's go back. That was a misplay. I had too much faith in Minorikawa's fighting ability. I shouldn't have had that much faith in his ability to fight. Okay, stumbling man. That's a lot of like options for like one part of the story. Let's go with the sorry, you know? Alright, I'm sorry. Getting dragged into a street fight was not what he needed right now. Was better to just apologize and be done with it. Should have shown me that kind of respect from the start. The punk shook his head, muttering under his breath. Another dumbass gotta get taught some manners. He let that go easier than I thought. I thought he was still going to make a fuss over it. Really just had to say sorry and he was fine with it. Okay then. Maybe he wasn't that bad after all. With that, the young thug headed off in the direction of Dogenzaka. Oh no. Oh no! Oh my god. This is not the way! No! That was easy. No, this was not the way. This was not the path. This was a misplay. No, I want to see it. I want to see us get handcuffed to the railing. Minorikawa headed up to a roof of a nearby building and lit himself a cigarette. Tiny tendrils of white smoke drifted lazily up into the blue sky. As his eyes tracked the twisting movements of the smoke, memories of Toyama and their newspaper days played through his mind. Practically any time the two men needed to speak to one another, they'd gotten into a heated argument on the spot. Minorikawa cherished his subjective viewpoints, while Toyama insisted on objectivity for the readership. Neither shied away from vigorous headbutting. But once all the articles were on the page and out the door, it was all water under the bridge. Yeah, good friends, alright. Almost felt like the referee calling no side at the end of a rugby match. Okay, nobody judge, I don't know anything about rugby. Okay, it's called out by the referee to signal the end of a rugby match. It refers to the fact that no side has possession of the ball, allowing the two teams to part on sportsman-like terms. Okay. The truth was that, somewhere deep down, Minorikawa got where Toyama was coming from. Without objectivity, readers didn't get the facts. Without subjectivity, they didn't get any emotional impact. Minorikawa had to credit Toyama for helping him become a full-fledged reporter. No balls. There is no other joke other than that. Mr. Toyama was in there. It was a suicide. Minorikawa let Chiaki's words drain from his mind, overriding them with one irresistible fact. The truth. The truth was in anything and everything. The truth could not be forgotten. The truth was all that remained in the end. Yo, what was that flash? Crazy Minorikawa isn't real. He can't hurt you. Minorikawa smirked grimly at himself. He'd come up here hoping to reignite his journalistic passion, but instead, the emptiness within him had only grown. Yeah, guess this is gonna take a while. He sparked up a second cigarette, and then we got handcuffed to the railing. Ain't no way I get to keep out over here. But wait, how far in is this? Is it not yet overlapping? Because if it's not yet overlapping, we can leave, right? We can leave the rooftop. It's not too late. It's not overlapping. It's not too late. We can leave the rooftop. Is this really the correct? I have no idea, but I have the jump that can make me leave. Hopefully. Like, can we get off the rooftop? If he doesn't get off the rooftop at this point, we're fucked. He gotta get off the rooftop before 1640. Come on, it's only 1610. If he gets off in a few options, we can still be okay. I'm coping right now. From the edge of the rooftop, Minorikawa gazed down at the city below, no longer aware of the passage of time. No! No, be aware of the passage of time! No matter how hard he tried to write about the truth, ultimately, he hadn't been able to change anything. So what had it all been for? The last ghost of his desire to keep up the struggle left him as he considered how meaningless it all been. Oh my god! I knew this was gonna happen! Oh my god. Don't do anything rash! An intruder abruptly shattered his brooding silence. A man in a suit appeared behind him. Now, he rushed closer, calling out with concern. Let's not be hasty. Nobody's gonna be happy if you jump. If you jump? Minorikawa stepped to the very edge and cast his gaze straight down. That might not be a bad idea. Hell, maybe some part of him actually wanted to. Suddenly, it felt like the natural course of action. From here, he wasn't even thinking about it until Kano said it! Minorikawa, please. From up here, the city looked like a miniature diorama of cars and people. Didn't seem quite real. Stop! Don't do it! Minorikawa took a step forward despite the stranger's words, feeling a splendid sense of liberation as he did so. He allowed his body to go limp, consigning himself to the fall. But just as he began to topple, he was abruptly yanked back. Don't go wasting your life like this, the stranger barked. The look on his face was outrageously solemn. And then for some reason, he slapped a handcuff onto Minorikawa's right wrist. Yeah, I want to see what happens to him after Kano leaves him, that's why. What? Before Minorikawa could react, the man locked the second cuff affair around the nearby fence. I promise I'll come back. Please, just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? And with that, the guy darted away. What the hell? Minorikawa muttered. He found himself alone again, unable to go anywhere even if he wanted to. Feeling emptier than before, he resumed his aimless vigil, staring out across Shibuya. And in the end, the man never did come back! I knew it! That's what I wanted to see. Not even after the sun had set. Night had fallen, and the next bleak morning came. Rip Minorikawa. I just wanted to see if he actually came back or not, but he didn't. Abandoned. Maybe Maria needs to do something. Let's see. Some guy, it was Kano of course, showed up out of nowhere, handcuffed Minorikawa, and then left him to languish on the rooftop. It looked like to Kano like Minorikawa was contemplating suicide, an understandable mistake under the circumstances, but now isn't the best time to reminisce about the past. No, I think it was my choice earlier. Right? Reignite his passion? Because reignite his passion is looking in his past. Now that I get that, I think I have to pick forge ahead. So he won't be thinking about his past. Right? I don't know. I'm just guessing. There, stand up, you need to forge ahead. There you go. Stand up. Right now, you just need to forge ahead. Yeah. That was his only option, really? Couldn't let things end like this. And he still didn't have what he needed for his article, so... Minorikawa took a deep breath, readying to get back on his feet. And we still stumble across this guy. Taking a nasty fall. Damn, that hurts. Okay, this is the same part. A snarl, and then he's angry. What are you looking at, pal? Clutched the timber like a club, nasty gleam in his eyes, not looking at anything, looking in your direction. Apologize, and then we're gonna apologize. Listen, kid. At least this encounter is still the same regardless of what I choose. Okay, then let's just say I'm sorry and let him go away. There you go. Bye-bye. With that, the young thug headed off in the direction of Dogenzaka. Okay. There you go. Minorikawa looked around and he noticed a taxi idling nearby. Oh yeah! It was Kimizuka. Do you need a ride, sir? Kimizuka asked, all politeness as he opened the door. The back door. Of course. If you're heading to that publishing office again, I can get you there in 10 minutes. Kimizuka's driving was as smooth as always. He wove his way skillfully through a series of back streets. There was some big explosion earlier, he explained. All the main roads are gridlocked. Okay. Yeah, Minorikawa muttered. I was there when it happened. Oh wow, really? Glad to see you're not hurt then. Still, what a terrible thing, that minivan. I heard someone was inside it when it exploded. I'm not sure if you were aware. Yeah, I'm aware. Oh, nothing gets past a reporter like you then, I see. Kimizuka flashed Minorikawa an approving smile and through the rear view mirror. How much have you heard then? Rumor has it the person who died was a middle-aged man. Oh, huh. We taxi drivers tend to hear quite a bit ourselves, Kimizuka chuckled, but Minorikawa just cast his eyes down forlornly. You look tired, sir. Yeah, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. Say his name. Say it's Tanaka. Come on, tell me the press release did something. I tried. The taxi stopped outside of Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa left a 1,000 yen bill on the seat and exited the cab. He was stumbling his way towards the building when someone called out to him. Mr. Minorikawa! Is it Chiaki? Oh no, it's Osawa! What the fuck? How the hell did you get here? Osawa be like, I'm taking matters into my own hands. For a moment, Minorikawa didn't recognize the man now idling his sedan at the curb, but then he took a closer look and realized it was Kenji Osawa. Oh, Mr. Osawa, sorry. I haven't been able to look into that thing you asked about yet. I see. That's quite alright. Osawa looked pale and haggard. Minorikawa's reporter sense started tingling. This guy's the key to something. He recalled what he'd heard the detective and his buddy talking about at the back of the scene of the explosion. Roughly 8 hours ago, they infected Maria Osawa with the UA virus. If we don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops any symptoms... You're caught up in something big, aren't you? How did you know that? Because, the reporter said simply, I'm Minoru Minorikawa. Hey wait, Osawa is someone who knows that the person who was in the minivan was Tanaka. This will clear everything that Minorikawa was worried about right now then. Well, almost everything. Other than where the fuck is Toyama for real. Osawa rolled his eyes. Well, that'll make this simpler, I guess. Get in. I'll tell you everything. Oh my god. Minorikawa hesitated. This might be a big chance to land a beyond incredible scoop. And it felt like it was too late to matter. Still, landing a major story, selling out an issue of 4-star general gossip, and putting Heaven's Publishing on the road to solvency? All that was the least he could do in Toyama's memory. Come on, he's not fucking dead. I'm sure he isn't. You don't drop a story until you have what you need. Maybe it was too late to save Toyama. But Minorikawa got in the car. Thank goodness. Osawa's tale was beyond anything Minorikawa had imagined. So they send you threatening emails. Devise a plan to kidnap your daughter in order to get the antiviral. And now that that's failed, they're turning to bioterrorism. Finally, Minorikawa was able to flesh out the story behind the conversation he heard earlier. As he did, he could feel a growing sense of exhilaration. So basically, they're now effectively holding all the people in Shibuya hostage and demanding the antiviral. Is that it? Before Osawa could answer, a new idea occurred to Minorikawa. Wait, hold on. Why didn't they just start by holding the whole city hostage? Why did they have to go through all the trouble of kidnapping your daughter? I don't know, Osawa said, shaking his head. Perhaps they wanted the ransom money? Or a mere 50 million yen? I can't imagine international terrorists bartering for that much. You can't know how terrorists think, Osawa spat. Let's just assume though. Could there be some other reason they abducted your daughter? Osawa didn't reply. He was probably too preoccupied with finding a way to save his infected daughter to think about anything else. Still, something about the course of events didn't quite add up to Minorikawa. I get it, right? Right, Minorikawa? It doesn't make complete sense right now. But whatever the case, if the criminals were after this antiviral, then sticking with Osawa ought to bring him closer to the truth. Minorikawa was still mulling that over when they arrived at the laboratory. But what are we gonna do? We don't have to knock a— Whoa, my god! The two men hopped out of the car and were immediately rushed by a pair of security guards who subdued them in a matter of moments. Hey, Minorikawa protested. What the hell is this? Unhand me, Osawa yelled. I'm Kenji Osawa. This is my lab. But evidently, that didn't matter to the guards. Here for the stretch hydrant posture check. What? Who is this? Another man emerged from the building. He and Osawa exchanged a few brief words. Judging from the tone of the conversation, this was someone who completely outranked Osawa at the company. Take him away. As the newcomer looked on, the guards dragged Osawa into the building. Oh, is this like Ai's dad? Sorry, I got the hydrate there. Hey, Minorikawa shouted at the man as he began to walk away. Don't you know what's going to happen to Shibuya? Don't you care? If you just stand idly by and let people of this city die, Okoshi Pharmaceutical is going to be held responsible. The man stopped in his tracks. And if that happens, you'll be ruined personally too, Minorikawa added. You know I'm right. That will be up for the police to decide. You're gonna regret this. Don't be a damn fool. Minorikawa's resolve was unwavering. His pen would mete out justice. He might have come close to forgetting what he once stood for. But now, the old fire is back. I see. It seems this isn't something to leave unchecked. The man gestured with his jaw. Take him as well. What the fuck? What are we getting into? More security guards surrounded Minorikawa. Hey, stop it! Let me go! Although he struggled fiercely, there was no escape. Once he was dragged through those laboratory doors, Minorikawa never wrote another article again. It's another bad ending. I think this is out of his control though. I think this is Osawa, where Osawa drives, I suppose. Detained at the lab. Let me see. Okay, he accompanied Osawa to the lab, but there's no getting past the security guards. Yeah, Osawa shouldn't drive to the lab. That's it. He can't catch a break. Yeah, he's been running all over Shibuya since 10 a.m. And then Kano and Achi since 9 a.m. Yeah, he was almost done though. He's almost done. In that case, it's Kano. Should I do Kano or should I do Maria? Probably Kano, let's see. You mean he was scrambling in Shibuya? Yeah. No. Let's go Maria first because Kano has a jump to Maria. So we're definitely gonna hit a keep out and I want to open that. I walk counter through the throng of people heading towards the scene of the explosion. It happened in Shibuya-ku, Jinan Ichome, near the intersection of Koendori and Organ Hill. Okay. There's a gun pressed against my back, leaving me no choice but to continue marching forward. I don't have time for this right now. There's something I need to do. My frantic sense of urgency grows and grows. Kanan. The only clue I have right now is that name. The other hazy snippets that have surfaced in my memory provide no answers. You mean he was scrambling in Shibuya? Hell yeah. Please, just tell me, I murmur. Do you know who I am? The man with a cane doesn't answer. I stop in my tracks. I'm gonna start shouting, I warn him. If you want to find out who you are, then do as I say. The barrel of the gun jabs more forcefully into my back. Once we find Hitomi Osawa, you'll remember, whether you like it or not. Guess I have no choice but to keep moving then. Are your memories really that precious to you? The man mutters as we start to move again. I'm taken aback by the question. Well, yes, I mean, isn't that pretty normal? There was a bit of a pause before he replies, his voice sad and distant. You're not gonna remember just the good times, you know. What do you mean? I mean that sad and painful memories are going to resurface too. I guess I hadn't really thought about that. But still, whatever kind of memories they are, they're all a part of me. I'm the person I am now because of the sorrow and pain too. I want to remember. I want to remember who I am. The gunman directs me dispassionately along a series of quiet side streets. Right here. I stop at his words. In front of us is an old multi-tenant office building. We ride the elevator to the 8th floor and then use the emergency exit to take the stairs up to the rooftop. A cool breeze blows across my cheek. Sit down there. I do as he says, settling myself on the outdoor air conditioning unit. Bro, we were just chilling. They were just chilling. When Kano arrived, it had the blindfold and everything, but they were just chilling before that. Are you kidding me? The man lowers his gun, but keeps it in his hand. We'll wait here for a bit. For how long? He lets out a rueful chuckle. Guess we'll have to wait and see. There's no point in trying to fight with him. For now, I have to hope that he's telling the truth, and whatever's coming will help me get my memories back. Kano misunderstands everything. Well, I mean, he was holding a gun to Maria's head. I'm sure that wasn't a misunderstanding. If I don't know about my past, how can I know what to do about this Kanan stuff, or anything else? I stare up at the sky and wait for whatever this assassin's waiting for. Silence between us is suffocating. Finally, I can't take it anymore. Hey, so I think this is yours? I hold out the notebook I picked up earlier. The man's surprise is plain on his face. Where did you get that? I saw the picture inside. He snatches the book out of my hand. He then flips through it, looking sad. I'm afraid that another agonizing silence is about to descend when he speaks at last. This is a picture of me and my childhood friends. Okay, are you gonna tell us what happened to them? His voice was low and quiet. The soft music, though. He was just using his gun to shoo a mosquito or something and some cloth fell on Maria's face. Yeah, complete coincidence. We were inseparable back when we were kids. The boy here, he always liked to fiddle with machines. Always doing things like taking apart radios and whatnot, putting them back together. He was a total bookworm too, so he got picked on a lot. But I was always there to save him from the bullies. All of a sudden, the guy's in a sharing mood, I guess. I can feel his aura of murderous rage starting to abate. The girl here was the same age as us, but she felt more like a big sister. Whatever stupid things my other friend and I got up to, she was always willing to laugh it off. Shit, man. I want to know though, so I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask her name at least. I'm not gonna say love triangle. I'm just gonna ask her name. What was her name? I asked, curious to know more. Kotone. Oh, there we go. We dated when we were in high school. Oh wow. But I get the impression from the picture that the other boy must have liked Kotone too, right? The gunman's eyes widen. You're very astute. Call it a woman's intuition, I say proudly. Then ask the obvious follow-up. So what happened to you two? I dumped her. The man carefully slipped the notebook back into the pocket inside his jacket. How come? I asked. I felt it was for the best. Do we know a Kotone? I don't think we do, right? He lets out a little chuckle and then stands up and brushes the dust off his pants. He looks strangely lonely. NTR. No, he broke up with her. he broke up with her, okay? We're good. Okay, now there's the keep out. That should be 610. Though seriously, I'm kind of invested. I definitely want to know what's going on with Tateno. Like, he seemed like he was a stand-up guy, like a really good detective, like from what Kana was saying. And he seems okay with Maria, like he was opening up. He didn't have to do that. There we go. He didn't have to do that, and he could have just as easily, like, killed Maria and then just baited out Kano and everything, but like, he might be going through something else. I'm just not sure what exactly it is. Anyway, I hear a faint voice, then realize the man is listening to a wireless radio. I've managed to secure Hitomi Osawa at Shibuya Central Hospital, the voice says. A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls his cell phone from his jacket and hurriedly makes a call. I've secured Maria Osawa, he says to whoever's on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa? Is my name Maria Osawa? You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi Osawa. If I'm Maria Osawa, what sort of relationship do I have to Hitomi? If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Then my captor hangs up. Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me? Don't look at me like that. He steps in closer to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he'd lost during our little talk is back in full force. Just bear with me a little longer. He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it at all. Just then, I hear Kanan's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass, tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. Is she remembering? Probably remembering a lot more. Should be big because she knows her name now. How are you able to do that when the string's so tangled up? Oh, once you know the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. I'm showing Kanan how to do a cat's cradle. She reaches out for the string. Huh? She doesn't get a hold of it quite right. What gives? Despite her efforts, the string is all jumbled up. Not like that, I say. Hook your index fingers through the front part of the string. No, I get that. Kanan's getting irritated. But after giving it a few more tries, she finally manages to pull it off. There we go, she says. Look at that. Seeing her innocent little smile bolsters my own spirits. That's neat. Thanks for teaching me. Oh, it's nothing special. Here, as thanks, let me teach you some skills to help protect yourself. Bro, I'll teach you a little trick with some string or some... I don't know if that's a string or a rubber band. I'll teach you some playful tricks with a cat's cradle. Now I'll teach you self-defense. Let's go. Good deal. Abruptly, my memory jumps forward a bit. Huh? Kanan's been training me in some form of self-defense. Anything special? Oh no, it's just regular self-defense. Don't overthink it, she says. People will either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you. If you can stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there. Kanan has no face, must be a Danganronpa killer. He keeps getting omitted. It's always just from the side of Kanan or from behind her. Or like, she's blurred out. Dark environment. She demonstrates some defensive moves as I watch. I follow suit, trying my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this. Kanan throws a punch at me. I dodge and grab her by the wrist and give her arm a hard twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming to her face. Nicely done, she says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I really just do that? Once you repeat the movements enough, your body will treat them like second nature. I do as she says, trying to repeat the movements over and over. At first, it feels like a silly little gimmick, but eventually, I can feel the motions growing smoother. There you go. People like those thugs we met before won't get the drop on you again. Thugs? Now my memories zip further back into the past. At least she's aware that, like, this is future, this is past. It's not that she's clueless, like, oh, what's happening? This must have all happened in order or something. She has a general sense of the order. I was wandering through the streets trying to get back to my hotel, but I'd gotten lost. By the time I realized I'd wandered into some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. They must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they had caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kainan had seen to that. Thank you so much for what you did for me. I didn't want there to be a scene here, Kainan says bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the thug's attack. That's all. I'd happened to be right underneath her apartment window when I was nearly abducted. Oh, what a coincidence. Bit by bit, my memories of Kainan are starting to resurface. Maybe when she remembers Kainan fully, we'll finally see Kainan's face in her memories. Hello, Kapan! Thank you for dropping by. Just a little more. Just a little more and I'll have myself back. I'm sure of it. Detective Tateno, where are you? Okay, we had the flashback and then now we snap towards the present. Okay. Man's voice suddenly snaps me back into the moment. It's Kano. I've come as you've asked. Gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet. Where's Hitomi Osawa? He snarls. Why didn't you bring her? Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? The captor removes my blindfold. Oh look, there's a blimp. The first thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly over by overhead. Yeah, same. That was also the first thing I saw. Have a nice stream. Thank you for the lurk, Kapen. Have a nice lurk. Huh. I'm sure I've seen it before. And pretty recently at that. There's a flash of revelation inside my head, like a dam bursting. My memories come flooding back to me. All of them? The party, the abduction, the necklace, the blimp, and waking up in the warehouse. Last night, I was at a party, a sort of mixer with the exchange students. Someone was plotting to use this opportunity as an opportunity to abduct my sister, Hitomi. So I told Hitomi that the party started 1 hour later than it really did. I had a plan to let myself get abducted in Hitomi's place. Of course, the idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with a tiny GPS. Whenever I happened to be taken, Kainan would be able to track my location. What we hadn't counted on, though, was my necklace getting torn off when I was attacked. I managed to grab a hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall gazing blearily out the car window and seeing the blimp. The Ayakamiki blimp. That's when I saw the blimp, right after we parked. Yes, it went fine. The man was talking to someone on the cell phone. Alright, I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in the room upstairs. The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Then, I guess for good measure, he hit me on the head again. That's right. There's more of it coming back to me now. Oh, more memories? Okay, with Kainan. You spent your life living in a country at peace in Japan. You couldn't possibly understand me. Kainan again. So it's not like she and I became fast friends right away or anything. Two of us were too different in a lot of ways. Where do you draw the line? What would you protect with your life? What does justice mean to you? A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kainan asked me a new question. I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp on my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along. Yet, I also kept on visiting Kanan's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time when we didn't have anything in particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw me deftly manipulating the string with my fingers. "Who taught you how to do that?" she asked. "My mother. My real mother, that is." Kanan furrowed her brow. "What do you mean, real?" "As opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her that well." "I see," Kanan said. Her expression remained unchanged. "What about your parents, Kanan?" "I don't have any. They died during the war." The bluntness of her response made my hands stop. The strings still stretched between them. Sensing that we were treading on some serious ground, I hurried to change the subject. Do you have any friends?" "No." "Well, I used to have one." Her use of past tense made me fear the worst, and I was right. He was killed too, by an arms dealer named Alphard. Okay, so that's where her grudge against Alphard comes from. Her tone was dry and matter-of-fact. Taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life. Despite the gravity of her words, her face was an unreadable mask. She seemed almost incapable of human emotion. "So, what sort of person is this Alphard?" "A destructionist who masquerades as a terrorist." Destructionist? That sure wasn't a term that came up a lot back in Japan. Alfred doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. Chaos and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist attacks. "So, you're saying Alfred commits terrorism because it's fun?" Kanan nodded. "That's why every now and then, Alfred changes loyalties. Just when you think you found some ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, turns out the job was for the American CIA. What the heck? So, Alfred stands for nothing then?" Kanan smiled dismissively at my little childish outburst. I couldn't help but feel a bit patronized. "Don't tell me Alfred is Stanley." I twiddled my fingers, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Kanan's eyes fixed right back onto the string. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quietly watching closely as I worked my fingers. Yeah. The tension in the room had faded as the silence between us lengthened. "My mother's the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing," I said at last. For some reason, I had the sudden urge to talk about my personal life. "I guess she cares about herself more than looking after her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date or that a woman's life is defined by a man. But it's not like I hate her or anything." "Would you mind teaching me?" Kanan asked softly. "What? How to find a guy to date?" "No." She shook her head. She then pointed to the cat's cradle strung between my fingers. "Oh, you mean this?" Why is she always obscured by the darkness in her hoodie? So I took her by the hand and started to teach her the cat's cradle. "Hey, do you mind if I ask you something?" I said after a while. "What's that?" "That friend you mentioned earlier. What was he like?" Kanan's fingers went still. "It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, you won't want to come here anymore." "That's not true," I insisted. "Even though I'm a terrorist," she replied curtly. "She is?" I swallowed the sudden lump in my throat, unable to find the words. "I guess it's the tattoo thing, right? That's the symbol? Probably." "You fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists." "Am I wrong?" She cast a quick look at my face. "But I mean, you protected me." My voice wavered as I replied. "All I did was take down some thugs. I just didn't want them around. I thought she was like an assassin." What could I say to that? I just stammered. "Nah, I'm just messing with you." "Huh?" Kanan flashed me another slight condescending grin. "I was just joking, don't worry about it." Were you? But I didn't get the sense that everything she just said was a joke. Even if calling herself a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanan lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. I could tell from the cold look in her eyes, a look that you'd never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardships had she endured to acquire that deadly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Keinan tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, her fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about, my bad. Okay, here we go. She hooked the string around her fingers and spread her palms. But the string shape had just collapsed into a jumbled mess. Confound it. Okay, one more time. You can make this into a game with two people, you know. I plucked the string from Keinan's hands. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun doing it than doing it by yourself. I wrapped the string around my fingertips. What do you say? Want to give it a go? Keinan looked dubious. The intricately intertwined strings were like the world in a way. What had started as a single thread was now something that couldn't be undone by just pulling on it. I held my hands out, twirling the string around my fingers. Keinan took the pattern from me and spread her palms apart. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with a childish little laugh of my own. And that was the start of your friendship. And as if in a blaze of sunshine, the fog that's been hanging over my mind finishes receding. I remember everything. My name is Maria Hosawa. My sister is Hitomi Ozawa. And Keinan. She's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once, and now it's my turn to help her. I close my eyes as I reflect on these precious memories, all the dearer for having been lost. Now, when I try to picture Keinan, I can do so clearly. It's just as I thought before. My memories are what make me who I am, and I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if time had stopped for me while my history was gone, and now it started moving again. I'm finally back to being me. Oh, it's a video. And I have to go. I have to go back there one more time. Where? The storehouse? Maybe? That's the best I can think of. End of her story. And huh? Wait. So the protagonist's stories can end before the last time block? Wait, what? Yeah! It ended! No more Maria POV then. Because everyone keeps getting to be continued and this one was literally end. No more Maria. Maybe Maria will be with another protagonist. Maybe her story ends because you've remembered everything in her POV, in which case she can tag along with someone. Maybe Kano. Maybe she'll be with Kano the whole time and then it's just Kano's POV. I have no freaking idea. But it ended her POV. Let's see how it goes. Because Maria just started flashbacking. We have no idea what happened between Kano and Teteno anymore. Let's see how this talk with Teteno goes. Maybe Maria will end up party member, like a party member in RPGs of Kano. Okay, so why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? He removes the blindfold. There was no doubt about it. She looked very much like Hitomi Osawa. A surge of frustration rushed through Kano. Detective Teteno, what is the meaning of this? Kano fought to remain calm. Felt like he was on the verge of falling to pieces. Epic music, by the way. Bring me Hitomi Osawa and I'll let this girl go. Why? What do you need Hitomi for? But Teteno's only answer was an icy stare. This isn't like you. It's so weird. The detective Teteno that I know, who you know, Teteno cut him off. What do you know about me? I know what sort of detective you are, sir. Because I've modeled myself after you my whole career. The older man's expression remained stony. Don't you remember? Kano went on. That time when you risked your life to talk down that man who barricaded himself inside that office? Ever since then, you've been my... Tateno interrupted him with a sudden burst of laughter. You really are gullible, you know that? You can only see things the way you want to see them. What do you mean by that? The truth is, I didn't even care if I died doing what I did. That's why I doused myself in gasoline. Tateno's voice had gone low and quiet. That was no display of heroics. It was more attempted suicide than anything else. I wasn't thinking about the other people still inside the building. It's just a coincidence that things turned out the way they did. So, then if you made a single misstep, then everyone in that building might as well burn to death. You're lying! That can't be true. Kano shook his head insistently. I don't have time for this conversation. Tateno pressed the barrel of his gun to Maria's head. If you don't bring Hitomi Osawa to me, believe me, I'll blow her brains out. Please stop this, Kano shouted. But there was no hesitation in Tateno's eyes. He looked like he really would shoot Maria if Kano didn't do as he asked. Hurry up! Bring Hitomi to me! Can't you at least tell me what's going on? Go now or so help me, I'll shoot! Kano drew his own gun from his jacket. I know you, Detective Tateno. I know there's some meaning behind all this. Kano's words came out as an imploring croak. You think you can shoot me? Tateno spat. Letting Al Karawan go free, taking Maria hostage. This has to mean something. Sweat made Kano's hands slick where he clutched the gun. If I asked if you think you could shoot me. I've always looked up to you. You were the sort of detective I wanted to become. Kano's view of Tateno began to blur as tears welled up in his eyes. Can you shoot me, Kano? I can. Even as he cried, Kano stood resolutely, doing his best to stare down the older man. He set his finger squarely on the trigger and pointed his gun at Tateno's forehead. Suddenly, the piercing stare vanished from the other detective's eyes. I've got to give you full marks for that, Kano. Tateno smiled thinly. I'll tell you then. Tell you why I'm doing this. Oh shit, let's go! Please don't be to be continued. Oh, thank gosh. He's gonna tell us. It all happened 17 years ago. A meth addict had assaulted someone in Shibuya. Okay, 17 years ago, pretty long. Tateno was questioning people around Doug and Zaka in search of the perp. He happened to pass by Endo Electronics. He was already a detective by then, okay. Oh, hey, Tateno! That's why he knows Achi... Kotone Endo! That's why he knows Achi! Achi is the son of Kotone, who was his childhood friend that he loved. That means Achi's dad is his friend? His other childhood friend? Clad in pristine white, clutched to her breast was her daughter Suzune, only a few months old. It's been a long time, Kotone said. She flashed a tiny smile. Yes, it has, Tateno replied with a clumsy smile of his own. Are you on the job? Yes, I am. Kotone recoiled slightly as the dour look on Tateno's face. Is something the matter? There's an armed criminal hiding out somewhere in the area. What? I wouldn't leave the shop for a while if you can avoid it. But I have to go to the bank to deposit some money. Surely you can have Daisuke go do it? Oh, he's away on a repair job and hasn't come back yet. Tateno let out a one-note sigh. I see Daisuke still does things his own way. Alright, let me escort you to the bank. You mean it? I'd feel a lot safer if you were having you with me. Kotone flashed him a smile so wide that Tateno thought he might lose himself in it. Tateno, Kotone, and Daisuke were childhood friends and had gone to school together up through high school. Tateno and Daisuke were always clowning around together, and Kotone was always there, alongside them laughing. Thank you for the hydrate and stretch. Let me grab that hydrate, ouch. I pulled the headphones wire by accident, whoopsies. Alright, it had been quite some time since he'd gotten to walk along Doganzaka with Kotone. How have you been lately? Well, with a newborn to look after, it's been pretty hectic. But there's never a dull moment. Things have been good. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Katone was always as bright as a sunflower. Sometimes, Tateno managed to convince himself that just the sight of her was enough. Outside the bank, Katone held Suzune out to him. Tateno received the baby with an anxious frown. What's with the face? I'm not good with babies. I haven't held one very often. Ah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just hold on to her for a minute while I take care of things inside. Alright. He held the baby gingerly, like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Katone chuckled softly. Suzune stirred and squirmed in Tateno's arms. She kind of has Katone's eyes, he thought. It was strange, the sensation of holding a child. She was so soft and light, and yet such a real and responsive presence. The faint warmth of her body warmed Tateno inwardly in turn. I have a bad feeling about this. Is she gonna die in the bank? When Katane returned after making her deposit, she was alive. Okay, I was worried there. They strolled to a nearby park. Suzune, back in her mother's arms. I still have a bad feeling about this. This is gonna go horribly wrong. Do you have any plans for marriage, Tateno? I haven't thought about it. Work has me plenty busy. Oh, that's just an excuse, Katane said. If there really were some woman you wanted to marry, you wouldn't let work stop you. Then I suppose because there hasn't been anyone I've felt that way about. Really? Nobody this whole time? Yeah, really. I see. But still, seeing the two of you like this makes me realize how nice having a family could be. Tateno peered deeply into Suzune's face. Well, if it ain't Tateno. He looked up as a cheery voice cut into conversation. It was Daisuke. What are you doing here? He asked his wife. I could ask you the same question. Come on, give me a break. I've come to make a deposit for the client. Oh, in that case, no need to worry. I just took care of it myself. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Huh? Really? Kotone smiled as Daisuke reached down and carefully lifted Suzune in his arms, beaming happily at his daughter as he nuzzled up against her tiny cheek. Daisuke, long time no see. Yeah, glad you're doing well for yourself, Tateno. As they walked side by side, Daisuke proudly showed off Suzune's drowsing face. So what do you think? Adorable, isn't she? Yeah, luckily she doesn't have your looks. Hey now, bad-mouthing me is the same as ever, huh? Some things hadn't changed since high school. Why not drop by our place for a bit, Daisuke offered. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a job actually. Tateno turned to glance at Kotone. Ain't no fucking way! In the moment that you guys looked away to go like, hey buddy, hey, suddenly the armed culprit out there is instantly there. What the fuck? In an instant later, Daisuke screamed, Kotone! A man had come up behind his wife and now held a kitchen knife to her throat. Kotone stood stiffly, frozen in terror. Let her go! Tateno took a step forward towards the man. The slightly upturned eyes, the close-cropped hair, the thin mustache, all the details matched the description. This had to be the man Tateno was after. Shut your damn mouth! Why is it going up and down? You want to try and kill me, huh? This lady here wants to try and kill me! The man was babbling nonsense. The report said the suspect was a tweaker. Right now, his mind was probably a complete mess from meth withdrawal. Left unchecked, there was no telling what he might do. Tateno shoved Daisuke behind him and drew his gun from his jacket. Wait, don't shoot! You'll hit Kotone! But Tateno ignored Daisuke's shouts and trained his gun on the perp's shoulder. He was confident in his marksmanship. He'd never miss at this range. Tateno, please back down! Daisuke pleaded, Suzune still clutched in his arms. I beg you! I can't, Tateno hissed under his breath. This isn't someone we can reason with. The assailant began waving his knife about. It could stab into Kotone at any moment. Yee! Tateno had to take the shot now. He aimed for the shoulder of the arm that the man held the knife in. Tateno, stop! Daisuke shouted. Don't do this! For a brief moment, Tateno's eyes met Kotone's. He thought he saw her give a tiny nod. Don't shoot! What happened? No, she was free. But then, don't tell me the fucking knife. No, the guy! What happened? How'd he get it back so fast? It was all over in an instant. By the time Tateno had the perp subdued, Katone's white shirt was soaked through with red. How'd he get the knife back so fast? It flew into the air! Damn, though. With Katone's death, so too died Tateno's heart. Whatever feelings had lived inside him had been reduced to cinders, leaving only a never-ending need to atone. Okay, wait. This kind of connects the dots. Remember the Achi bad ending at 9 a.m.? Or 10 a.m., I forgot. There was an Achi bad ending where, like, way near the start of the game, where, like, Kano arrests him, and then, like, when he gets released, the whole case is over. And his dad calls him up and goes like, "You're not gonna believe this. We got a lot of money. Like, we have no more problems and stuff." So, I'm gonna assume that maybe, I'm not gonna let him finish yet, Tateno is doing this because he wants to atone to Daisuke and his children. And he knows Daisuke is having a hard time because Suzune is in the hospital, right? So that must be taking up a lot of money. And also, he needs to find, like, someone who can be like a heart donor to his daughter, which is hard because she has a rare blood type. So, Tateno must be in on this whole thing. Somehow, this Hitomi thingy, somehow killing Hitomi Osawa is gonna help out somehow, probably, and then maybe he's part of Alfred's scheme, is what I mean. Like, maybe he's gonna get money out of this. That's probably what's happening. I have no idea anymore. I'm going too hard on the guessing. I'll just continue his story. Countless times he thought of ending his life in order to make things up to Daisuke and his children. The only reason he didn't go through with it was that he knew that death would be the easy way out. And so he stayed on as a detective. He would carry the weight of his sins with him for as long as he lived. This was the sentence Tateno gave himself. "15 years had passed since Katone's death. For the first time, Tateno had gone to visit her grave. He was standing by the grave marker with his hands clasped when someone called out to him from behind. Excuse me?" A slender young girl stood there, flowers in hand. Tateno instantly recognized her. Suzune. She looked just like Katone had back in her high school days. "Do you know my mother?" she asked. Yes. We were classmates a long time ago." "Oh, really? Thank you so much for coming." Suzune gave a slight bow and then gazed up at Tateno with her big bright eyes. You look just like her." Tateno struggled to hold back the tears. He felt as if Tatone stood before him, returned to life. "My father tells me the same thing all the time. I'm sure once you're all grown up, you'll be just as beautiful as she was." A forlorn smile came to Suzune's face. "Once I'm all grown up? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part where I'm going to die young." "Don't be ridiculous," Tateno exclaimed. "Why would you say such a horrible thing?" Suzune took a step backward, looking shocked to be rebuked by a stranger. "No, my apologies," he said hurriedly. "I didn't mean to startle you." "No, it's alright," Suzune murmured, clutching the flowers close. "Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself. But I'm sick, so there's not really anything I can do to change it." "Sick?" "I have a heart condition. A transplant is the only thing that can help me. But my blood type's a little bit weird, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find me a compatible donor." Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hands in silence. Tateno felt a wrenching pain inside of him, as if Kotone were being taken from him all over again. If there really was a god, why would he do such dreadful things? Is there nothing I can do? He nearly lamented out loud. I'll do anything. Suzune, I'll do whatever I have to in order to save you. Okay, I'm kind of on the money on that part. Tateno clenched his fist as he stared at the grave. Tell me, Kotone, what can I possibly do for your daughter? Please, tell me. Please. Compatible? You gotta take an order out on a date before you can tell, you know? Bro! And so the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Tateno was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now, so they weren't working together yet. Okay. Fearing that something had happened to Suzune, Tateno answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once, he heard Daisuke wailing. Suzune had a seizure. She might not come back from this one. Tateno's terrible suspicions had been right on the mark. He felt himself growing weak. Please, Daisuke exclaimed. You need to shoot that girl you're with. That Hitomi Osawa. You need to shoot her in the head. If we have her heart, we can save Suzune. Wait, how the fuck do you know? How the fuck do you know what Hitomi's blood type is? How do you know that for sure? At first, Tateno couldn't make sense of what Daisuke was saying. Hurry up and shoot! Shoot her, please! Hitomi Osawa has the Bombay blood type! Wait, hold on, Tateno said, keeping his voice low. You want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why? He quickly scanned the area. Daisuke, are you nearby? Wait, where are you? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that? Are you fucking serious? If you can just render her brain dead, we'll be able to transplant her heart into Suzune. Shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they'd wind up brain dead. And even assuming it did, if Tateno shot the Osawa girl here in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for a heart transplant would surely have passed. Tateno, shoot her, please! Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that. Hurry! It was like his old friend wasn't even listening to him. Must be truly one if you had to look up in the glossary. Just kidding, love. It's alright. Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, they wouldn't be able to perform a transplant. But Daisuke kept on shouting. It's fine! It'll be fine. I'll make the transplant work somehow. What the fuck? How? This is like some sort of dark operation here. You'll make it work? Even knowing how ridiculous that was, the part of Tateno wanted to know what he had in mind, if anything. I poke fun with love. It's alright. There are brain empty moments. It's all okay. I finally found it! I finally found something that we can do for Suzune. Please, help me help her. Tateno understood Daisuke's feelings painfully well. To be helpless to stop the suffering of someone you love. Nothing in the world hurt as much as that. He'll use the rite of resurrection. Oh yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. Let's fucking go. It just needs some soldier. Yeah, that's for real. He's like, oh my god, bro. I almost have all the soul dregs that we need to perform the rite. Just shoot her. She's the last one we need. Bro. I want to save Suzune. Tateno, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you. Tateno could hear choked weeping from the other end of the line. At that sound, something inside of him shifted. Yes. Yes. Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening was not the issue. What mattered right now is that he could take action. He could do something for Suzune. He mustered up all his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart. For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he loved. I'll have their transplant right here. Back, bro. Tateno checked the gun, tucked inside his jacket, and then slowly began making his way through the crowd towards Hitomi. That explains so much. That also explains why he knows Achi and why he's like, he doesn't want to hurt Achi. Now you know why we're here. Oh, you know, speaking of Paranormacide, I heard it's getting a manga. I think it's like a sequel manga. I don't know the specifics, but I saw it in the passing. Some of my friends brought it up. I'm interested in seeing where that goes if it gets published. like in English. Hopefully it does. I want to read it. I still love that. I still love that paranormal side. Now you know why we're here. Tenno gestured subtly with his gun, its barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. Kano's own gun wavered in his hands. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tenno now. And now, he was sure of one thing. Words were never gonna stop this man. Kano, Tenno said. At my age, I've seen all sorts of young detectives come and go. He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano. And you're about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. You know how many formal apologies I've had to write because of you? Tenno let out a heavy sigh. But you know, Kano? Because of the way you've looked up to me, you've saved me. And that's the truth. He sounded like a man speaking his last words. Now come on. See if you can stop me. Press the gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head. Detective Tenno. His finger wavered on the trigger. Shoot him. You have to shoot him. If you don't shoot him, Maria's gonna die. He tried desperately to convince himself. Maria, can't you, like, flip him with your self-defense? I know he's not gonna expect it, right? I am going to stop you. Tenno looked him coldly in the eye. Do it then. Shoot me. I feel bad for him, though. Ripped Tenno. Kano stared right back. He tightened his finger on the trigger. Ah! Did he do it? He shot. Oh, what you have to do to be continued at that moment? Ah! I won't know if he shot the Tenno in the head or if he shot the Tenno in the arm. What a cliffhanger for real. Well, this kind of confirming my theory that Maria is probably just gonna be tagging along with Kano now, though. Gotta go back to Tatsumi's route, see what happens. Oh my gosh. Right, so Minorikawa is pretty close there. Maybe I should go for Achi or Osawa. Let's go for Achi. Because where the fuck did they go? I am so confused what happened to Achi because Hitomi got taken by Stanley, secured by Stanley. I'm not sure on the details, but they were at the hospital, which makes sense. Post-explosion, she got caught in the explosion. I understand. Why was Achi nowhere to be seen? That's what I want to know. And I know Osawa links into Minorikawa, so we can do that one after. Inside the van. Achi could hear the ambulance and police sirens wailing on the main road. He looked down at Hitomi, slumped on a park bench beside him. "You sure you're not hurt?" he asked quietly, offering her a bottle of water. "I'm okay." Hitomi took a sip from the bottle. "Thanks." Well, she's not hurt. How the hell did we get to the hospital? I think I've managed to calm down some. Some of the color had finally returned to her face. So, Achi began hesitantly. Inside that minivan. I get it. I think, hear me out. I think the one who got hurt is not Maria, it's Achi. Maybe it was that guy, that thug that bumped into Minorikawa was probably looking for Achi. They got in a fight and then Hitomi brought Achi to the hospital. I feel like that's what happened. And that would explain why Achi was nowhere to be found and not mentioned at all when Hitomi was secured. Maria wasn't in there. There was relief in her voice, but also a note of pathos. I got a look in through a windshield. There was a man laid out in the back seat, but nobody else. A dark cloud lifted from Achi's face. So, it wasn't your sister? No, I didn't see his face. Just that he was wearing a business suit. Achi felt the tension ebbing from his body. That's good then that it wasn't her. I'd been worried. It was a shame about the poor devil who had been killed, though. Who was it, and why had he been there? So, I guess we're now out of leads. Hitomi murmured. She hung her head. We could try the surveillance center again for now, Achi said. It'll probably give us better odds of finding your sister than just walking around. I guess you're right. Shall we then? Hold on. Achi had a sudden flash of inspiration. My house is a lot closer from here. Maybe I should ask my dad if we can check the cameras from home. You can do that? Yeah, we have the same system at our house. I'm sure my dad will let us use them. Nah, not really. Your dad's out to get Hitomi. Now we need to know if she the type of cook that can burn too big, or is she the Mrs. Philippines? No! Last time they found Maria with the cameras, it was a bad ending. Yeah, just don't find Maria, for real. The two got up and headed for Endo Electronics. Achi decided to let his father know they were coming. He turned on his phone as they walked along. He had it off for a while, so he first checked his voicemail. There was one message. Wondering who might have called, he played it back. Is this Achi Endo's personal cell phone? This is Dr. Saeki from Shibuya Central. No, that's why they're at the hospital. She sees Maria for one frame, she restarts to run. Hey, hell nah. Seiichi Saeki, heart specialist and Suzune's attending physician. A preeminent surgeon who has successfully performed the Batista procedure, wherein the left ventricle is reconstructed after a third of it has been removed. I don't really know that procedure, but it sounds very impressive. I'm sure it is. Achi's expression stiffened. Achi gonna have the shoujo imagination again. No! He's just gonna learn that his sister had a seizure. He pressed the phone closer to his ear. There's been a sudden change in Suzune's condition. Person with a disaster. I tried calling your home as well, but I got no answer. Achi felt the edges of his vision growing dim. As her brother, it would be good if you can come to the hospital as soon as possible. It's... Achi? Hitomi's voice was full of concern. Sorry, I just gotta make a call here. Fingers trembling, Achi dialed his house. Oh shit, he's gonna try... I don't know if I'm gaining or losing brain cells and trying to come up with jokes every glossary entry. It's all good. We're slowly gonna share one collective brain cell that we're going to exchange every time someone says something. We're gonna just be borrowing brain cells. We're gonna be exchanging it. I'm losing. Yeah. And at some point, there's only gonna be one. So if I have the brain cell, you can't have it. If you have the brain cell, I can't have it. The phone rang several times before switching over to the answering machine. Damn it! Where the hell are you, Dad? Well, what's wrong? Hitomi asked. It's Suzune. It sounds like things have gotten pretty bad. Well, we need to get to the hospital right away, Hitomi said. She sounded as anxious as Achi was. We can't go yet. Achi shook his head quietly. First, we have to save your sister. Hitomi bristled angrily at that. What are you talking about? She grabbed Achi by the arm and shook him. Right now, you need to be thinking about your sister. I can't. I made a promise to Suzune. I promised to help people and see things through to the end when something important is on the line. He struggled to get the words out. If I break that promise, then I really am no good to her. But Hitomi didn't look like she was going to back down. Oi, get back here! Oh shit. We're gonna have to just run. We're gonna have to just run, for real. I didn't realize Kana stopped saying dick dictum every 5 minutes. Literally unplayable. Organ chat. Oh my god. We got so many bad ends, no dick dictum to guide us in life for real. A threatening shout rung out from nearby. Achi looked around, startled, and saw a boy about high school age bolting out from behind a building on the side street. Several slightly older men were hot on his heels. Achi knew all their faces too well. They were all members of SOS. They caught their quarry right before he could make it out to the main road. Huh! Gotcha, newbie. So the kid they were after must have been a member too. Let me go! Oh, we'll let you go, alright. After you pay up. One of the young men snatched the boy by the collar and shoved him against the wall of a nearby building. Ow! The boy's face scrunched up. What are you talking about? Plain dumb, huh? Interjected one of the onlookers. We told you that all the members have to pay monthly dues, yeah? The privilege of getting to call yourself SOS don't come for free after all. Archie felt his blood boil. SOS was trying to pull a shakedown on this new kid under the guise of calling it Jews? Oh my gosh, Mr. Shakedown. But if they successfully perform the shakedown, when you like defeat them, do you get a little bit more back, like Mr. Shakedown in Yakuza? It would have been unthinkable for them to do something like this back when Achi was running the show. Hey, he barked. Let the kid go. He marched towards the group. Say what now? They turned to look, their faces immediately going pale. Oh, hey, Achi. Let him go. Achi focused his glare on the fellow, holding the kid until he released his grip. You guys always go around doing stuff like this? None of the gang members answered. They merely turned their gazes glumly to the ground. Hey, Achi turned to the younger boy. Since when have they been doing this? But of course, he realized there was no way the newbie would be able to tell him. Never mind. You can go. Achi gestured towards the main road. The boy is quick to run off. Achi waited until the boy was gone before turning back to the others. Does Susumu know you're going around collecting Jews like this? He said. He asked. Man, we don't gotta tell you that, one of them muttered. Not since you deserted. What did you just say? Achi leaned in close, getting right in the guy's face, and he was met with a defiant sneer. This ain't the old SOS anymore. Not the old SOS? Achi thought back to the other gang member he'd run into earlier with a malicious gleam in his eyes. Oh yeah, that guy. That guy, that was also his reaction. I can't wait for you to start the Kiryu route. The game really picks up in terms of side quests when you do. Yeah, for real. Nani? Nani? That guy. Pretty sure he said his name was... I wasn't looking at the screen when I looked at the chat because my chat is on my phone when the game is full screen. Holy... The fact that the guy's name is Kiryu the moment we were talking about it. We were just talking about Kiryu and Yakuza. I forgot his name was Kiryu, guys. Okay, we got Kiryu and Kuze at home. And then we have these guys. That guy. Pretty sure he said his name was Kiryu. Back when Achi had been with SOS, he'd never have let a guy like that get away with acting all high and mighty. I'm clearly the developer of this game. Suddenly, Achi heard a voice from behind him. Well, well, if it ain't our legendary founder. Oh, it's him! Whoa! Why is seeing this guy making me go like, Kiryu-chan? It's the expressions. An instant later, he took a hard blow to the side of his head. So I'm watching PHP tuber my time zone GP. Easy time zone. I was gonna make that joke. Can he put his tongue back in? Yeah, for real. I was just looking out for some small fry, but it looks like I landed me a big one. We're really sharing this brain cell, yeah. Achi's head swam, his vision fading in and out. Before he had a chance to recover, something smashed into his knee. Is this why we ended up at the hospital? He lay crumpled on the ground, unable to retaliate as kicks and punches rained down on him. Even after Achi could no longer move, the beating didn't stop. His ruptured eardrums could barely make out the sound of Hitomi screaming. Wait, is this a bad ending? Hitomi, run! With his final plea silenced before it reached his lips, Achi felt his consciousness battered away. Beating like the sound of drums in a watchtower. Oh my god, it is a bad ending! Kiryu's ambush. Oh my god, is this because Minorikawa didn't stop him or anything? Let's see. Kiryu turned up out of nowhere and gave Achi a beatdown with a piece of timber, but before he attacked, he ran into someone else. That person said something that changed what Kiryu did. The individual in question needs to say something different to ensure Kiryu doesn't go to Dogenzaka while Achi and Hitomi are there. Okay. Minorikawa? I didn't want Minorikawa fault, yeah. So the first one was too defiant, and then our next Minorikawa thing was too timid. We were supposed to be in between those two options. We should have been in between the options and told them, like, you get a kick out of beating people like that, I guess. There, is it fun hitting people with that thing? This is the only thing. The corner of the punk's mouth curled up. Oh yeah, real fun. Only a dumbass beats people with their bare hands. You just wind up hurting your fists. If you're gonna enjoy some violence, you gotta have yourself a weapon. Aha, I see. In that case, maybe give it a rest with that stick, yeah? Huh? What for? The punk scowled in irritation. Don't get me wrong, Minorikawa said. I'm just saying there have to be better weapons than that. Something that could take a man down in a single blow. The kid stopped to consider Minorikawa's words for a moment. I getcha. Yeah, you might be right about that. And I think I have just the thing. May as well go with my usual. What? This is cheese ice cream. No! What? He tossed away the piece of wood on the side of the road. Don't go anywhere until I get back. Got it? Yeah, sure thing. What? Minorikawa watched as the punk headed back the way he'd come. Man, he murmured. What a dumbass. Looking around, he spotted a taxi parked close by. Okay, there we go. Where's the save? Did it save yet? Oh shit, I have to get through this scene. I have to get through this scene. This is the same thing though. Minorikawa picks up the cudgel and starts blasting the kid. No! Okay, let's get through the scene and then we'll see the save. Wonder what that guy went to get though. If it wasn't that little plank of wood. At least he went back. That means he won't run into Achi and Hitomi. Okay, you look tired, sir. It's still not done! Okay. It's saved, but it was not done with the scene. What?! Okay, that's why it was not done with the scene. What the fuck? Someone rushed out into the road in front of the cab. Look out! Yo, wait, we ran out. Shit. No! There was a heavy thunk as the taxi crashed into the pedestrian. Well, that happened. Screeching to a halt, Kimizuka and Minorikawa jumped out of the vehicle to find a young man splayed on the street. Hey, the driver called. You alright? The fallen pedestrian was practically still a kid and he wasn't moving. Kimizuka hunkered down and jostled his shoulder, and then his expression stiffened in alarm. Minorikawa checked the young man's pulse, but couldn't detect any heartbeat. Oh no, Kimizuka said. Tears began to well up in his eyes. Minorikawa turned to him in surprise. You knew him? I did. Kimizuka cradled the young man in his arms. I'm sorry, but you'll have to find yourself another taxi, he said. I'm going to turn myself into the police. Okay, this is a bad ending. We have to go back to Achi. Looking down at the boy's unmoving form, Minorikawa felt a pang of guilt. No, he said. I'm the one who's been asking you to drive around so recklessly all day. This is on me too, but... I'll go with you to the cops. What the fuck? You both turned yourself in? The two men decided to head to the station together to surrender themselves. There probably wouldn't be time to work on writing articles while they were being interrogated. But that's just how it'd have to be. This just one thing. It's just the right thing to do. Minorikawa just kept telling himself that, knowing that it was the truth. It's that one nerdy person whose name I neglect to remember running people over again, bruh! Surrendered to the police. Minorikawa's day ended in disaster when the taxi he was riding in hit a young man, parenthesis Achi, who ran out onto the street. But why'd the kid run into the intersection like that? Answer lies in Achi's story, of course. Of course, Achi, we will get you... We'll make sure you don't run out in front of the cab. Okay, Achi, here. Internal dispute. Bro, we didn't even make it past 5 minutes into Achi's story and we can't move on. Okay then. It goes until like the younger guy gets away. And then Kiryu showed up. But in this case, Kiryu shouldn't show up. Man, my image of Kiryu is just like completely Kazuma Kiryu. Yutaro, that's his name. I couldn't remember either. Oh, okay, what you talking about? Playing dumb. It is the pay, the monthly dues. Man, I wonder how much the monthly dues he was thinking of is. Like, how much do they have to pay to be a member of SOS every month? Could be highway robbery at some point because it's a gang. Okay, the kid goes to run away. He doesn't want to answer. Kid run away. Okay, kid runs away. And then he starts interrogating them. Don't gotta tell you that. Because you're a deserter. And then, here. We're around here. Saying the old SOS. Not the old SOS? Okay, thought about Kiryu. Alright. Around here, this is where we can pick up. Never let a guy like that in. Okay, there. Now it seemed like all these young fellows were ready to follow suit, eager to take him down a peg. Your old news pal. Ain't your business to tell us how to do things. Achi felt a confusing flood of anger and sadness that he couldn't quite control. I'm not messing around here, you guys. He grabbed the nearest pump by the collar and hefted him up in the air. Then someone shouted from behind him. Hey, what are you doing? Achi put the guy down and turned around to see Susumu standing there. Mind telling me just what's going on here, Achi? Susumu flashed his underlings a sharp glare. They immediately took to their heels. That must be it. He ran after them. Let us not run after them. Just what the hell was going on with SOS? Achi needed to talk to Susumu. I asked what was going on here. There was a threatening note in Susumu's voice. That's what I want to know. What the hell's happened to SOS, man? Susumu's face twisted with displeasure. You're an outsider now. It's none of your business. I don't give a damn if it's my business or not. When I left you in charge of SOS, You shut your damn mouth, Susumu roared. Yeah, that's right. You left me in charge. So don't you dare give me any lip about how I run things. His sudden ferocity left Achi at a loss for words. You're not the one busting your ass out there. I am. Susumu stalked towards Achi, his face red with emotion. I've had to work so hard to keep things going with you gone. Do you have any idea what it's been like? Do you know what I had to put myself through to keep SOS together? Props to Achi for keeping a straight face through this. There was nothing Achi could say to that. He just had to keep his mouth shut and let Susumu talk. You were gone. Thought maybe I could do things like you did. All at once, Susumu seemed to deflate a little. He hung his head, hiding his face. And if I couldn't be like you, then... Hey man, I get it. And I'm sorry. But Susumu kept his face averted. Please, he muttered. Stay out of our business. Aw, feel kinda bad for him. He then turned on his heel and headed off without looking back. Achi watched him leave, feeling a painful sting. Hitomi just kinda stood there the whole time. At least they didn't try to hurt her? Achi? Hitomi asked after Susumu was gone. Are you sure you're okay leaving things like this? Achi shrugged heavily. Susumu said he's doing what he can. It's not my place to butt in. He turned his back on Hitomi. He still needed a moment. Achi, you're being unreasonable. About what? He felt like he'd been wounded to his very core, and he wasn't sure what to do about it. You want to help people who are in trouble, right? Hitomi asked quietly. Yeah, I guess. Achi's voice was glum. Well, I'm in a whole lot of trouble right now. Yeah, I know that. No, Achi, you don't. Hitomi's tone was clipped and firm. Please go to your sister. What are you talking about? That doesn't matter now. Yes, it does! Hitomi's shout stopped him in his tracks. Achi, right now, I'm having the most trouble... The thing I'm having the most trouble with is that you won't go to the hospital. Don't you get it? How can I possibly be happy with you helping me if you have to sacrifice your own sister to do it? Hachi couldn't answer that, and he knew it. Please, go to the hospital. I'm asking you to, and I'm definitely someone in trouble, so it doesn't count as breaking your promise, right? I appreciate that, Hachi said softly. No, we're not just gonna remember it, we will drop by the hospital. I think we have to. So yeah, how about we drop by the hospital for a bit? The emotions Hachi had been trying to hide now came welling to the surface. We'll go see Suzune and after that we can look for your sister. Would that be okay with you? That would be more than okay with me. And at long last, Hitomi smiled at him. Excellent. Back in sync with each other, Hachi and Hitomi headed to the hospital. I mean, Tateno isn't after them right now, and Alcarawan is in custody, so no one's chasing them really. Shibuya Central Hospital was one of the foremost general hospitals in Japan, outfitted with top-notch medical facilities and staffed by highly skilled personnel. Individuals like Suzune with rare blood types were sent to the hospital from far and wide because of this cutting-edge hematology center. Hachi asked Hitomi to stay in the waiting area while he headed on to the hospital proper. From the visitor's entrance, he passed by the nurse's station and then entered the cardiovascular medicine section and walked along a row of examination rooms. He walked by the first room as quietly as possible, catching sight of a mother and daughter sitting together in the chairs at the hallway. The mother was crying softly. "Oh, Takuya, he's only 15, she murmured under her breath. The name Takuya didn't ring a bell. It was the only 15 that got a reaction out of Hachi. Only 15. Couldn't imagine anything good coming after that. To be cruelly taken away when someone was still so young. Hachi could feel the woman's pain as deeply as if it were his own. Thank you for the hydrate! When he reached Suzune's room, Dr. Saeki, the attending physician, explained her condition. The doctor tried his best to keep his explanation simple. Hachi was too worked up to process much of what he said. He did manage to wrap his head around a few things. At around 10 o'clock that morning, Suzune had a seizure. For a while, it had been touch and go, but her condition had stabilized. However, since she hadn't regained consciousness yet, she wasn't allowed any visitors. That was the gist, as far as Hachi could tell. What's your father doing today? He still hasn't come by, Dr. Saeki said. Hachi wasn't sure what to tell him. It was certainly odd. There was no way his father wouldn't have rushed right to the hospital if he'd heard Suzune had taken a turn for the worse. I'll give you a call once she's woken up. For now, you can head on home for the day. Alright. Please keep a close eye on her, doctor. Somberly, Hachi went to find Hitomi in the waiting area. But she's gone now, isn't she? Uh-oh. Outpatient reception had closed for the day, leaving the hospital quiet. His footsteps echoed softly in the corridors. Then he walked along a peculiar sound. As he walked along, a peculiar sound drew his attention. It had come over by the base of a nearby stairwell. Hachi took a peek around the corner. It's Kainan! And Stanley. It's Kainan and Stanley. Holy shit. Okay then. Thank you, Kainan, for being here, but holy moly, what the fuck is happening? The sight that had greeted him nearly made him gasp aloud. In the dim light up ahead, he saw Kainan, and she had some white guy pressed against the wall with a knife to his throat. Hachi quickly yanked his head back out of view. Could it be? Was this the man Kainan said she was after? Hachi had to resist the urge to go charging out there. Some amateur heading in half-cocked might be more of a liability to Kainan than any sort of help. He heard her mutter something to the man in English. He knew nothing about Alfred's background, nationality, sex, age. Hachi could barely make out the words, but since it was all in English, he had no idea what they meant. But we do know, whoever they are, they have connections to Langley. Who's Langley? Oh, slang for U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. Hardquartered in Langley. Okay. Achi peeked out again, very cautiously this time, to see the man raise an eyebrow at Kanan's words. Interesting. That doesn't mean you need to threaten me at knife point, though. He flashed her a thin smile. It does, actually. Because I happen to know that you're a CIA agent. Okay. Oh, did he toss her? Yeah, he did. No sooner were Kanan's words out than the man grabbed her arm and tried to hurl her against the wall. Just before her head connected, though, she jackknifed her upper body forward and then planted both feet against the wall and kicked off with tremendous force. Oh, sheesh! She turned it back around! She used her momentum to launch herself forward, regaining her position with the knife against the man's throat. But during his brief opening, the man had managed to draw a gun from inside his jacket. Now the barrel was pressed right against Kanan's heart. It's kind of hot, not gonna crazy. It's those enemies to lovers, like, you know, those bases where it's like draw the characters in this kind of position. Yeah. Achi swallowed the lump in his throat. How about we call a truce? Kanan said softly. She withdrew her knife. Yeah, sounds like you and me are both after the same thing. The man likewise lowered his gun. With a faint smile, Kanan turned her head back on him and vanished down the adjacent stairwell. Achi had no idea what just happened. They'd stopped fighting though, so this guy probably wasn't Kanan's mastermind after all. If only Achi spoke a little English, he might be able to follow their conversation. He found himself wishing he'd taken school more seriously. When he looked again, he saw that the man too had disappeared. Is Hitomi still here though? Did she also disappear? No. Hitomi stood up in her chair from her chair as Achi hurried into the waiting area. How's Suzune? She asked. For now, she's not in any immediate danger, they said. That's good to hear. But more importantly, Kanan was here just now. What? Why? I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. Achi slumped his shoulders. Huh? What? Not quite sure what you mean. Exactly. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. Hell, I couldn't even figure out how to get through to Hitomi. May I have a moment? A voice spoke unexpectedly from behind Achi. Oh, here he is. His breath caught in his throat as he turned around. Standing there was the man Kanan had been struggling with. What's up? Achi asked. He tried to sound as nonchalant as possible, but the man wasn't looking at Achi. You're Hitomi Osawa, is that right? Yes. Hey, Achi snapped, keep your distance. He stepped protectively in front of Hitomi. This guy, he's not what he looks like. Achi clenched his fists and adopted a defensive posture. Huh? Hitomi seemed panicked. Achi said, would it be bad if I name drop Kanan? No. We'll go with this instead, right? He's not the one she was warning us about after all. Although she kinda was. Let's go with this. I don't know who he is, but he's not our friend. The man calmly reached into his jacket pocket. Fearing he might be about to draw his gun, Achi braced for action. My name's Jack Stanley. I'm a security assistance officer with the U.S. Embassy. Achi held back his punch as the man held out his ID card. Oh, look, his ID is attached to it. Embassy? What does someone from the U.S. Embassy want with me? Hitomi asked timidly. You're being targeted by a dangerous criminal. I'm here to take you into protective custody. Custody? Achi's temper flared. Buzz off, pal. We're busy here. Busy searching for Maria Osawa? Stanley asked. Achi and Hitomi exchanged glances. I know the full details of the trouble you currently find yourselves in. Well, alright then, Achi said. Then you should know that we don't have time to get taken into custody. I'm afraid you don't understand the situation we're dealing with. We're up against a dangerous international criminal here. Taking reckless action's only gonna put her life in danger. Don't be a fool. This isn't the time to be playing a knight in shining armor. Hey! Achi was infuriated, but he couldn't think of a comeback. After all, it was true Hitomi had to run into danger time and time again while she was with him. But I'm already safe, Hitomi insisted. I'm only here right now because Achi's been protecting me. She eyed Stanley sharply. I've got Achi with me. I don't need your protection. Achi felt a surge of pride that practically brought tears to his eyes. If Hitomi would let him, he would have given her an enormous hug. Stanley grimaced in resignation. All right. In that case, how about I join your search for Maria? I can help keep you safe that way instead. I don't know. Hitomi grabbed a hold of Achi's sleeve. This Stanley fellow didn't have the most trustworthy face, Achi thought, but he realized that he might be biased after being chased around by foreigners all day. After all, if this guy was really after Hitomi, he would have probably already made a show of force. Not only did he have a gun on him, he was sufficiently skilled in martial arts to hold his own against Kanan. He'd have no trouble taking down a single unarmed opponent like Achi. Hitomi, I get the impression this Stanley guy's not our enemy right now. Hitomi gave a slight nod. Alright. I trust your judgment on this, Achi. Okay, so new party member for Achi, it's Stanley. Now then, what's the plan from here? Stanley asked. Not wandering aimlessly around town, I hope. There was a trace of snideness in his voice. You can just keep your mouth shut, Achi replied. We can wander around town all day if we feel like it. Two can play snarky game, if he thought to himself. Poor Hitomi looked distressed. Very well, if that's what you want, I can stay quiet. But first, I need to inform the police that I have Miss Osawa in my custody. Wait, hold on, Hitomi blurted. That isn't a good idea. Stanley inclined his head. Why's that? Well, since you already seem to know most of the story, Hitomi quickly explained the kidnapper's threat and described the search for the minivan. Stanley remained quiet, listening with obvious interest. I see, he said when she'd finished. Still, when that minivan exploded, didn't that make your promise to the kidnappers a moot point? Hitomi nodded. I suppose it did, didn't it? Let me ask you just one more question. Do either of you know a detective by the name of Tateno? No, we haven't run into any detectives. Yeah, exactly. The only people we run into are guys who are after Hitomi. I see. A grim expression crossed Stanley's face. Right, I'm going to get in touch with the investigation task force. I'll have them contact your parents for you. Would you mind speaking with them so they can confirm it's really you? Sure. Alright, Hitomi said. Stanley got on the wireless and described their current circumstances to the police. Mr. Endo, hold on! Suddenly, Dr. Saeki appeared, running down the hallway. There's something I forgot to tell you. Regarding your father. Oh? Achi got a sinking feeling. I got a call from him yesterday afternoon, and he asked me something rather odd. Oh shit, is he gonna snitch? Preparations for a transplant? I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. Saeki clutched the receiver. Daisuke Endo's brooding tone was more than a little disturbing. No, it's alright, Endo said. This is all just difficult to talk about, Doctor. Please, forget I said anything. There's just one important thing I want to let you know. Yes? There's gonna be a brain-dead woman coming your way, probably around 9 o'clock this evening, I expect. Her blood type is Bombay. Bombay was extremely rare blood type that Endo's daughter Suzune possessed. Any transplant donor for Suzune would also need to have that type of blood type. Since she has the same blood type as Suzune, the transplant itself isn't an issue, Endo continued. The only thing I'm concerned about is whether the procedure can be done within the limited time window. I hate to trouble you, but I just called because I think it would be best to prepare for the surgery as soon as possible. The more Saeki heard, the more disturbed he grew. Yeah, who wouldn't? Who the fuck wouldn't be disturbed? You're a doctor and then you get a call from the parent of one of your longtime patients, and he goes like, prepare for the surgery. And then he just eerily knows that there's gonna be a brain-dead woman coming in at around this time, on this day, and then you're gonna do the transplant because she has this blood type, same as my daughter, and it's really rare. Bro, you sound like you're gonna commit a crime to get that woman sent to the hospital. It sounds so incredibly suspicious. Who wouldn't be sus upon hearing that? That's Hitomi, right? She has a bomb Bible. Yeah, apparently. It felt like he was listening to this man go on about some strange delusion. Doctor, please, just take good care of Suzune. With that, Endo hung up. Achi kept quiet as he listened to Dr. Sayaki tell his story. Of course, that was yesterday, and I still haven't heard anything about a brain-dead girl turning up. After all, only God would know when someone would wind up in a state of brain death. But still, there was just something very strange about what your father said. It was as if he was certain someone was going to wind up brain dead, or... Just stop right there, Achi exclaimed. Oh shit! I get it, right? The kidnapping was yesterday. At around that time, assuming they actually kidnapped Hitomi, they would have been able to proceed with the transplant. That would have happened, but they got the wrong twin. If they didn't get the wrong twin at that moment, Hitomi would already be dead. Oh shit. It was supposed to happen yesterday. What the fuck? This is going so insane. Stanley and Hitomi turned in surprise. They were still in the middle of their wireless call to the police. Don't get me wrong, the doctor said hastily. I'm not trying to imply that your father would hurt anyone. What I'm worried about is your father's mental state in... No! Achi interrupted him again. That's not it. His own words from earlier spun within his head. So long as we have these cameras, this guy has nowhere to run. Oh, he's thinking about the security system. The security cameras. Oh, yeah. I'm sure this is the place. The man with the cane. He'd been on the phone with someone. That didn't mean anything. It was just a coincidence. It couldn't be true. Achi searched desperately for some explanation. Then that was it. Anyone from the downtown committee could have used the camera monitoring room. But no one came by. It was from your house. Nothing wrong with a little nap, yeah? No dice. No one from downtown had been by the surveillance room today. It couldn't be. It couldn't. Achi began to tremble. Is something the matter? Hitomi asked. Achi, you're as pale as a ghost. Achi gazed back beseechingly into her face. With just one simple question, he could clear this whole thing up. Please tell me I'm overthinking this. He prayed inwardly before asking. Hitomi, would you mind telling me your blood type? Why do you ask? Please, just tell me. Oh shit. I have a sort of weird blood type, Hitomi said. It's called Bombay. Oh Yep, he has confirmed it. He's confirmed his theory. The last piece of the puzzle fell into place. There was no longer any room for doubt. Achi found himself facing a sad and painful truth. Why? I mean, Stanley over here can figure this all out if you tell him a bit of your details. With Dr. Sayaki, I feel a little bad for him standing there going like, oh, what the hell is happening? With an anguished scream, Achi punched the wall as hard as he could. But his fist still didn't hurt as much as his heart. Please don't be to be continued. Dad. Why? Please don't be to be continued. Please. It's getting so good. Fuck! I knew it was gonna be to be continued. It was going too well. It was going so well though. Holy shit. The pieces are all coming together. They're all falling into place. How dare you to be continued me. At the most crucial moment. For both Kano and Achi. Holy shit. Why? Well, oh, what the heck? He stopped at 1635. What the heck? No, wait, no, there was a time skip here, wasn't it? Because it's 1635 to 1650. So this thing was super long, and then it ends 10 minutes before the time. Why is Maria at a keep out again? Are? Nande. I have no fucking idea why she said keep out again, but okay. Is it because of Kano? Oh, Kano! That's why. Okay, okay, okay. But what happened to Kano? What the hell? Why is it still a bad ending? Oh wait, yeah, because Osawa. Wait, I'm so confused. Why did Achi hitting to be continued ruin all of the other progresses? Huh? What? What happened to Kano exactly? I think it's with Kano, okay? It's probably with Kano that everything got ruined, and I don't know why. Let me see if anything changed here, okay? I think it's because of Kano. I'm pretty sure it's because of Kano. Okay, it's the hey Kano, what would you do? Would you release to the media or not, right? I have an update on Sasayama. Oh yeah. It's in critical condition. Okay. Got the handkerchief. Peel it away carefully. Present for his wife, I see. Sorry for ignoring your orders. None of this would have happened if it weren't for me. You know, I wish we had a skip button. Like, a button to, like, at least neum through what we've already read. I know some visual novels have, like, the option to make the skip, like, skip everything or skip read. I wish we had the skip read. Because we've read all of this. Okay, it's Mamoru Tanaka. Should we release his name to the media? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Oh, there you go. Wait, what? Huh? I mean, it cleared out like this, but not everything? What? I know Osawa and Minorikawa are completely unaffected by this, so... Phone call from Tateno, I guess? Hold up, we're trying to fix this. Parted ways from the girl. She entered Heaven Publishing. His phone rang. Got the incoming call. It was Tateno. He accepted. He'd be like, bring Hitomi. Okay, I've secured Maria. Bring Hitomi. And then he's having a bruh. When I see the next save, we'll look at the timeline again. No reply. Answer me. You didn't hear his questions. There's an office building in Nanpeidai, South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop. Bye-bye. Nothing's changed. It's not like Kano listened to the wireless, so he had no idea again. I'm not sure why it removed the progress. Save. Oopsies. Bumped the table. There you go. He's back at to be continued and Maria's back at end. Okay, that was freaking weird. I have no idea why that happened. But anyway, Osawa's turn. Osawa, and then we can hopefully get out of the bad ending of Minorikawa and both of them will be on to be continued. I don't want to know how people feel. All I want to know is what viruses feel. I prefer viruses because they make no move to encroach on me from the other side of my microscope. They leave me free to let my thoughts wander as I wish. And while it may be true to say I understand viruses, I have never been able to understand my fellow humans. I don't know them. I don't know a single fundamental thing about them. Osawa having serial killer thoughts again. Yeah, actually, what the heck, man? Bro, viruses can infect you. And, you know, you can get hurt. What do you mean they make no move to encroach on you from the other side of the microscope? What if you got the UA virus, bro? With Tanaka dead, trying to use the backup passwords for the fingerprint scanner had become a hopeless endeavor. The only remaining means of gaining entry to the storage area was to issue an emergency unlock request to the electronic lock manufacturer. And to do that, they needed the approval of 6 members of the board of directors. What is he asking? Oh yeah, he's calling Makino. Returning to his study, Osawa called Makino's personal cell phone. What is it? Makino said gruffly as soon as he picked up. Osawa informed him of the situation, including Tanaka's death and the fact that Maria was infected. The news left Makino at a loss for words. Please, Osawa begged. You need to hold an emergency board meeting. Makino was silent for a few moments. I'm afraid I can't do that. Why not? Are you just gonna sit by and let my daughter die? Osawa raged. And not just her. If Maria goes symptomatic. That was only an if, but Osawa was reluctant to put his fears into words. If she goes symptomatic, the UA virus will sweep through all of Tokyo. I realize that, Makino replied. But one of our board members is overseas on business. Holding a meeting is impossible. Despite the gravity of the situation, he sounded astonishingly nonchalant. Osawa couldn't back down now. There must be some other option, like a web conference or something. Doesn't help us if we can't get in touch with him, Makino huffed. He went missing a few days ago in the middle of his business trip. Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' New York branch has been missing since April 25th, 9 p.m. local time. There have been no demands for a ransom, so the New York Police Department is investigating the possibility of some other form of foul play. Shit, man. Osawa was too appalled to be angry. This is the most ridiculous lie I've ever heard. Would you like to speak to my on-site contact if you don't believe me? This was like arguing with a child. If Makino was deliberately working against him, he'd never know if this disappearance was real or not. In that case, can you just appoint a representative in his stead? Osawa pleaded. Selecting a representative is a complicated process. Even if we started now, it would take some time until sometime tomorrow afternoon to complete. Tomorrow afternoon? By then it would be too late for any of this to matter. Sir, can't you see how absurd the things you're saying are? What would you have me do? Makino barked. These are the realities of corporate politics. I understand, sir. You'll do nothing for my daughter. That's what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying, Makino replied. Look, I'll see what I can do to appoint a representative more quickly. He hung up. I mean, bro, this is like having all of Tokyo at risk if we don't do this is pretty huge. Like, pretty big. It's not something you can just ignore, Makino, so... His tone suggested that waiting for an appointee wouldn't be a terribly hopeful prospect. I have no more allies, Osawa thought. All I have now are foes. Couldn't just count on anyone anymore. Osawa's just gonna have to get the antiviral by himself. Still, he'd just have to take Makino at his word. Right now, it's his only course of action. How about this? I mean, I need Osawa to exit his house. But I don't want Osawa to show up at the Okoshi Pharmaceuticals because that's what screws them over. So, let's just go with this. Let's take Makino at his word. It's our only course of action. And then it instantly like to be continued. No! Osawa sat down in front of his computer and quietly closed his eyes. If only I could just go to sleep and wake up tomorrow morning and find all of this resolved. All I'm asking for is a miracle. But he knew reality would never be so kind. He could hold his eyes shut as long as he wanted, and it wouldn't make this hopeless situation go away. He felt all the anxiety welling up inside of him until it seemed like he was going to explode. Needing a distraction from this helplessness, Osawa opened Ayanet. He knew this was mere escapism, but he couldn't just sit and do nothing while waiting for Makino to call back. He posted a new topic with the title, Aya Fortune Teller. You gonna chat up, sweet honey, Mr. Shizuo? I tried the Aya Fortune Teller. My results basically said I was a bad person who can't connect to the people around me. And you know what? That's exactly right. I'm only interested in my own little world. That's probably why my wife and my assistant at work got so fed up with me. It's the same with my 2 daughters. What sort of things are they interested in? Do they have a lot of friends? What are their aspirations for future? I don't know any of those things. It never even occurred to me to find out. I'm such a terrible father. Wait, are you actually posting this? Are you for real right now, Osawa? Aww. Osawa's fingers ceased their typing on the keyboard when he thought back to Maria when Maria and Hitomi were younger. Daddy! Daddy! The 2 girls would follow him around like a pair of puppies. Their father was their everything. That much was clear just by looking at their faces. He felt a ticklish giddiness at having his girls cling to him so. He'd never felt anything like it in his life. But there were times where he also found this tiresome. I'm sick of being the person I am. There's nothing I can do about that, though. You can change! Well, like, I'm sure it's far too late for me to change. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, with that attitude. It's never too late, Osawa. You alive right now, and you care so much about this whole case. He poured out all his negative emotions into his post. It felt like a stream of consciousness drivel, but he didn't hesitate to write down all the same. He wanted other people to know what a miserable excuse for a human being he was. At last, when he couldn't think of anything else to add, he posted his bitter confession to the forum. He was staring numbly at the monitor when he heard a furious shout from the next room. You've got to be kidding me! It was Kajiwara, and Osawa had never heard him so angry. Eh? What happened, Osawa? Kajiwara. Osawa headed into the living room and found Kajiwara embroiled in a vehement argument with the other detectives. I don't care what HQ's policy is, I will not just quietly go along with this. Kajiwara had already screamed himself red in the face. You're out of line, snapped the MPD detective. Kiichi Sawatari, with the Metropolitan Police Department's first criminal investigation section. Having heard of Kajiwara's past deeds from his friends at the precinct, he recommended to his boss that Kajiwara be assigned the investigation at the Osawa residence. After seeing the detective's interactions with Osawa, he's confident his recommendation was in the right. However, given the circumstances, he can't help but take a cold stance towards Kajiwara. Hold your tongue. I don't care if I'm out of line. You may have talent, I'll give you that, the other detective said. But you're a precinct detective. This isn't your jurisdiction. It's just not up to your place to question orders from higher up. Wait, Osawa thought. Kajiwara really is a real detective after all? Why would he be a phony? Go on, explain the situation to Mr. Osawa. Kajiwara bit his lip in frustration at the other detective's order. Very well, he said. But before he could say more, Osawa noticed that the police equipment had all been cleared off the table. Hold on, Osawa said. What's going on? Has something happened? Allow me to explain, sir, Kajiwara said. His bitterness showed painfully on his face. We've been recalled, sir. Recalled, okay. So, to deal with the bioterrorist threat because the kidnapping task force has not yet found Maria and she's infected with the virus. The task force personnel have instead been absorbed into the security force and will continue their work under its direction. Okay, so it's like a change in teams. Okay. Osawa narrowed his eyes, fighting to keep the confusion from his face. What do you mean by that? He was shaking, terrified to have his suspicions confirmed. I'm truly sorry, sir, for having been unable to help you. Kajiwara gave a deep and solemn bow. But Maria, what's going to happen to Maria? Another unit has been tasked with bringing your daughter into custody, sir. That much at least Osawa could process. You're going to place her under quarantine, aren't you? Kajiwara's lips stiffened, but he nodded. In order to minimize the spread of the virus, so I'm told. No, Osawa cried. You can't do that. If you do, there's no way to save her. His head spun. Please, I beg you. You need to get Maria to me. I might be able to save her. When Kajiwara didn't respond, he turned to the other detectives. Please! No, you can't place Maria under quarantine. But the other detectives' only answer was to avert their eyes. Why are you all ignoring me? Please, you have to listen. If you bring her to me, I can figure something out. I know I can. He plunked himself down on the floor, yelling and flailing his arms like a child throwing a tantrum. Oh my god, they have the group exit. The detectives exchanged sullen looks with one another and then walked off and left him there. He knew he must be a sorry sight, but nevertheless, he kept shouting after them. Please don't stand by and let my daughter die. Oh hell yeah. It's the picture I used for the thumbnail. I didn't know it was in this chapter, I'm not gonna. Only Kajiwara remained with him in the living room. I'm sorry, sir. This was beyond my ability to stop. He gave another apologetic bow. Osawa suddenly felt deflated. No, you've done a fine job, Detective Kajiwara. It's me who should be sorry. I've made such a disgraceful display of myself. That's not true, sir. In fact, I am deeply moved. I can tell how much Maria must mean to you. Osawa shook his head. If I'd really been thinking about Maria, I would have made an effort to work with you detectives more. That was all just self-absorbed shouting. A moment of emotional selfishness. And yet, as a result, you've convinced me to stay here with you. Kajiwara proceeded to pull out his phone and put in a request with the task force headquarters to remain at the Osawa residence. He got into a heated spat with his commanding officer, but ultimately received permission to stay with the police liaison with Osawa. Well, the detective said as he hung up, you see, there are people who are legitimately moved by your parental display of emotion. Even if I'm not certain that I can do very much in staying here with you. That's not true, Osawa replied. There's plenty you can help me with. He looked into Kajiwara's face and smiled. For instance, you can find the things that have gone missing. Yeah, sure, let's have a banana. Banana it is. I can have a banana whenever I want. Kajiwara returned to Osawa's grin even more brightly. Yes, of course, by all means, have as many as you like. He then produced a pair of bananas from his pocket, handing one to his companion. Ah, yeah, this is the photo. This is the one. Osawa peeled his banana and took a hearty bite. The mild sweetness was pleasant and soothing. It was a flavor that brought back memories. I often eat bananas when I go to the park with my daughter, Kajiwara muttered between mouthfuls. Didn't realize you had a daughter, Detective. She just started grade school this year. Oh, really? She must be adorable. Well, I don't get to see her as much as I'd like. A lonely sort of smile crossed Kajiwara's face. Why's that? Doing this job caused me to neglect my family. Finally, about 2 years ago, my wife hit me with the divorce paperwork. I wanted to keep our daughter with me, but, well, the law tends to favor the mother when it comes to custody issues. Aww, ripped Kajiwara. Oh my god, we even have chocolate. He then pulled 2 bars of chocolate from his pocket. It's good to have something sweet when you're exhausted, he said. Osawa took one but said nothing. More recently, my ex-wife's been talking about getting remarried, Kajiwara continued. And she wants me to stop seeing our daughter. He bit into his own chocolate bar with a soft snap. No less than I deserve. But it still hurts. Aww. Some branded chocolate. So true. Does your daughter happen to be interested in ukiyo-e? Oh no. Osawa couldn't help but sympathize. The man was losing his daughter. Here was someone he could really talk to. He was sure of that much now. Detective? I apologize. I've been keeping things from you because I was worried that they involved classified corporate information. Oh? Hajiwara's eyes glimmered with interest. Earlier today, I received some emails. They could be pertinent to the case. Would you mind letting me see them? Osawa shook his head. On the contrary. There we go! Back in front of his computer, Osawa saw that Ayanet was still open. Pretty Honey had responded to his forum on the post. You know what? Let's read it. One moment. Just let me read this. Osawa read the response. He might need to hear it. What if it's something, comforting? I got that same result. Do you really think it's too late? Don't give up hope. Hang in there. Aw, it's never too late. Every family has its share of problems. Like you'll never find one that doesn't, I'm sure. When it comes to family, there's no such thing as game over. So don't let it get you down, Julie. Besides, I forgot his name is like Julie or something. Besides, I did learn one thing from reading your post. In the end, a father's happiness is his daughter's happiness. Hachiwara peered into the monitor. A young girl is posting to a forum for people 40 and older? It's Pretty Honey. She always replies to my threads. The detective furrows his brow. I see. Is something the matter? No. That last line there just has me curious is all. A young girl writing something like that. Well, that's neither here nor there right now. Let me see those emails if you would. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shizue. Thank you for the hydrate posture check stretch. Osawa opened his email. He pulled the images from human testing on the monitor. What is this? Resident Evil Kajiwara. Have you heard of the franchise? Stared at the monitor as if unable to look away. These are images from unauthorized clinical testing of the antiviral drug I developed, carried out by my company without my knowledge. Images of a... I'm sorry, what was that? The detective frowned at the unfamiliar terminology. In simple terms, the antiviral is a wonder drug to combat the UA virus. Hold on. Maria's infected with the UA virus, isn't that right? Yes, UA is a species of virus discovered in South Africa relatively recently. Roughly 12 hours after infection, patients develop a cough, and then a fever, and then begin vomiting, and ultimately begin to bleed uncontrollably from all over, resulting in death. The mortality rate is... Osawa was reluctant to say it. Kajiwara held his breath, waiting. It's nearly 100%. Did they develop a quirk that grants them superpowers too? Sheesh! Maybe. Kajiwara shuddered. But wait. He said after a moment. If you have this wonder drug, then Maria... Osawa shook his head. Without Tanaka, I have no means of getting it out of the lab. Kajiwara's frown deepened. I see. It may not be much to go on, but I think we can at least put together one piece of our little mystery here. Oh, it's just a mystery in general. Pardon me one moment. Kajiwara inspected the email address of the sender. Alfred, right? And then brought up the mail header. You don't see email addresses like this much. It's seemingly from a foreign country, but it may be fake. You can tell that just from the email? The detective flashed a little grin. Take a look here. Why else is it called UA? Who knows? She playing a mystery game, not knowing what mystery means? It is a mystery. So if we just do this and this... His fingers flew over the keyboard, calling up the header details, singling out the received form from field. This is a set of 4 numbers. The bottom is the sender's IP address. Think of it as an ordinarily hidden location marker of sorts. He spoke, and the detective pulled up a website called IP Station. He copied and pasted the set of 4 numbers and pressed the enter key. The monitor showed the name of the provider, connection method, and other such details. Osawa couldn't make heads or tails of most of it, but one thing drew his eye. Access point, Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. Kajiwara went into the email program's options and checked the server info for Osawa's connection. Deep furrows formed on his forehead. This is the same provider that you use, Mr. Osawa. What does that mean? What kind of internet connection do you have here at your house? What sort? Well, it's plugged in over there, but... Osawa pointed at the router. Does everyone in your family use that same line? Yes, I think so. He's doxing the sender, oh my god, for real. Osawa should have trusted Kajiwara 5 hours ago. We would have gone so much further if he did. But, you know, I appreciate his character arc. I appreciate it. She connected to the internet. We don't know how to provide this. Truly, let me just take the... No! Kajiwara opened the command prompt. Oh my god, he's doing the CMD. He typed in ipconfig. Okay, so if the same numbers we saw before pop up here, that's a bad sign. Oh, that means they're here in his house. Oh? Osawa stared at the monitor. Kajiwara pressed enter and opened a black window covered in a white alphanumeric characters appeared. Okay. What the heck? Kajiwara muttered under his breath. Wait, what's going on? Osawa asked. Explain simply so I can understand. Faking an email address is simple enough, but the typical person wouldn't be able to fake an IP. It's very likely that these emails were sent from another computer inside this house. Osawa had to stifle a gasp. The emails had been sent from his own house at around 11 o'clock that morning. Since Osawa hadn't sent them himself, that left only one other possible culprit. What the fuck? You're Alpha? Well, no wonder it's an A. Suddenly, his phone rang, nearly startling him out of his seat. Makino's name showed on the incoming call display. Osawa quickly picked up. Well, it makes sense. It's an A. Somnium files? Oh my god, you're right. That's unironically a command you can use in command prompt. Yeah, it is. I think I recognized it from classes. Wait, I pressed the wrong game. Oh, there you go. There's an update on the emergency board meeting, he blurted. Makino's voice was quiet and subdued. I tried pulling whatever strings I could, but to no avail. I'm afraid holding a board meeting today just won't be possible. How could you not help us, Makino? I mean, he did what he could. The phone fell from Osawa's hand. His only possible means of saving Maria was now gone. To be continued. Oh shit. Oh shit, so he's not supposed to run into Minorikawa. What the fuck, man? I have to go so far back. It's Mario over. Another one down for real. I guess I'm so far back because he was in the taxi. So, okay. It's alright. We're mostly done. I've seen this face many times now. Yeah. That's alright. Once we finish getting into the taxi, Minorikawa should be going in, you know? She's her real face. No! Live Minorikawa reaction. Alright, and then taxi. Now, this time we're not gonna run over Achi. Should be fine. We'll get to the publishing office. We won't run into Osawa. So that means he'll be able to go into the publishing office. And then he'll be able to see Hana, I guess. I don't know if Toyama is there. Who knows where the hell Toyama is. But definitely Hana is there. We made sure of that. Okay, when we get dropped off, we can continue. Man, I thought it was like an epic moment where like Osawa and Minorikawa will end up going to solve the mysteries together, but this works out too. And if that happened, one of their stories might have ended, right? I feel like it's too soon for that to happen. Trip had taken 10 minutes on the dot. Thanks. Okay, left 1,000 yen bill and exited the cab. Sir, the driver called after him. Minorikawa turned back around. Kimizuka was leaning out the window to point at him. It isn't called work because it's fun, sir. The day will be over soon enough. Just hang in there a little bit longer. The driver finished with a knowing grin. Minorikawa cracked the ghost of a smile. Maybe his spirits had been lifted just a tiny little bit. Thank you, he replied. You're a true friend of the working man. He waved half-heartedly and then headed into the building. Thank you, Kimi. You're so kind. That taxi driver a real one. He's a real homie. Can't wait for her to go back to Shogo Okiya's story after Mr. Mino! Chiaki threw herself at him as soon as he opened the door to the editing office. News of the explosion was playing on the television. Minorikawa marched straight towards his desk and opened his laptop. While it booted up, he tried to get a handle of the current situation. Where are the folks from the loan company? He asked. They're here, Chiaki said. I have them waiting downstairs. Do they know Toyama's dead? I'm sorry. I kinda let that slip. What about Hana? I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her since she called earlier. With a tiny sigh, Minorikawa started typing at his laptop. By some miracle, he had 6 pages of the copy nearly wrapped up. Still, he needed to do whatever it took to see this job through to the end. This would serve as his final tribute to Toyama's memory. He loaded his copy to the DTP software in order to set the layout. Bit by bit, the actual magazine articles began to take shape. The editing department door swung open. Hey! Snarled the young man who barged in first. He kicked over a stack of books. How long are you gonna keep us waiting, huh? Honestly, Segawa, must you be so rowdy? A middle-aged man stepped in alongside him. Are you Mr. Minorikawa then? He added as his eyes fixed on the journalist. He held out his business card. A pleasure to meet you. I'm Asao Ozu from Takarada Financing. Okay, a black market lending firm that offers loans at an interest rate above what the law allows. Well known for taking whatever steps necessary to collect what's owed, its business card slogan, got bad credit, but you need a loan? Call anytime, we'll put together a loan that suits your needs. My deepest sympathies about Mr. Toyama. However, I'm afraid that you do need to give us back the money we loaned. Despite his polite tone, the threat in his voice was plain. Look, next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip is definitely coming out. Couldn't you please wait for the repayment until the funds from those... sales? Minorikawa asked. That was exactly what Toyama's plan had been after all. Well, we certainly aren't monsters. If the magazine's going to be making you money, we wouldn't mind delaying another month. You really mean it? Chiaki chirped. To clarify, that would be the case if Toyama were still alive. Releasing the next issue is all well and good, but with Toyama gone, so is the company. That will make full repayment of what we're owed impossible, I expect. Then what would you have us do? Minorikawa asked coldly. How about we cut to the chase, growled the younger man, Segawa. Dig out your ears and listen up. Chiaki recoiled in a panic, and the Minorikawa held up an interposing hand. Knock it off, he said. You're scaring the young lady. A thin smile came to Ozu's face. All we want to know is where Mr. Toyama's daughter is. Yeah, that's right, Segawa said. Tell us where that girl is. No way, Chiaki squeaked in protest. Hana's just a little kid. She doesn't have the responsibility to pay back the... Ozu didn't let her finish. We're aware of that. Nevertheless, we'd still like to know where she is. The law didn't matter right now. Guys like this had all sorts of ways of wringing money out of people. It was clear from the looks on their faces that Ozu and Segawa had some wicked scheme up their sleeves. Unless, of course, you would prefer to take on Toyama's debts, Mr. Minorikawa. You are quite the accomplished reporter, after all. Take on his debts, huh? Bruh, his face, yeah, for real. Minorikawa didn't know how much Toyama had borrowed, but it only took one look at these guys to tell that it was no small sum. Have Chite put it on her throne? No! How about it? Ozu asked. The way you land scoop after scoop, I'm sure you'll be able to repay us in full before you die. Minorikawa fiercely returned the stare. Is this really a good idea? I guess I can try to say yeah. Alright, I'll take on the debt. Minorikawa's tone was resolute. But not just yet. Let me finish up this job here first. Very well, I suppose we can wait a little while longer. You too can pay off Toyama's debt by using Oh yeah! Crowdfunding for Toyama's debt. The two men from Takarada Financing plunked themselves down on the editing department sofa. Mr. Mino, please! You can't agree to something like this. If I don't, these guys are just gonna keep on threatening poor little Hana. But still, that's none of your concern, he said. What I need to know is, how's your piece on those street interviews coming? But, I mean, those guys... They said it doesn't matter if the issue comes out or not. Don't be ridiculous. When a professional agrees to take on a job, they see it through to the end. Chiaki took his point and scampered to grab the printout of her copy. Minorikawa gave it a quick once-over. He saw immediately that the piece was lacking in structure. He then read the article a second time, checking the finer details. Several off-theme sentences jumped out at him. This is no good. Rewrite it. He thrust out the printout back at Chiaki. Yes, sir. She bowed her head and retreated to another desk. The TV was still on, and a news broadcaster's voice suddenly broke through the silence as well as Minorikawa's concentration. We're live on the scene right now, where an explosion in Shibuya has... Minorikawa gazed blankly at the screen. He found his mind drifting to a particular memory of Toyama. When the hell are they gonna mention that choice I made as Kano to just reveal that it was Tanaka? Like, when the hell are they gonna bring that up? Holy shit, they got an entire oil rig in their lungs from all those cigs, for real. The door looked like it might fall apart at any moment, but Minorikawa didn't care as he pounded on it as hard as he could. The Toyama nameplate popped off and fell on the floor. It was hard to believe that this dilapidated apartment was the home of a newspaper editor who'd worked his way up from reporter. Hey, Toyama, get your ass out here. Toyama's dead. No! What the hell happened to this guy? At the sound of Minorikawa's angry shouting, other tenants on the floor poked their heads out of their rooms to stare. He paid them no heed and continued calling out. Eventually, Toyama opened the door, dressed up in his sweats and undershirt. Quiet down, you moron, he snapped. Come on in. I hear you tendered your letter of resignation at the paper. Minorikawa sat cross-legged on the tatami-covered floor. Tell me why. Toyama quirked a lopsided grin. You want to know why I quit, huh? Alright, lean in close. Minorikawa peered at him dubiously. Huh? Why? Toyama's dead. The accident was episodes ago. You gotta let it go. No! I don't want anyone overhearing this. Resigned, Minorikawa leaned forward and turned his right ear towards Toyama. The man's warm breath against his cheek was pretty unsettling. At first, he had trouble concentrating on Toyama's story, but when the older man got to the crux of the matter, he found himself listening with rapt attention. By the time Toyama finished, Minorikawa was unable to suppress his shock. You're starting your own publishing company? Not so loud, damn it! Toyama shushed him with a finger to his lips, but looked around warily, as if there might be spies in his own apartment. Right, but a publishing company? Minorikawa said again, more quietly this time. What are you doing for your distributor account? All booksellers were required to use a wholesale distributor to circulate their publications. To do business with such a distributor, a publisher needs a specialized distributor account. They're not gonna let a company with no track record open a new account with a distributor. Distributor. Okay, there we go. I'm sure you must realize that. Toyama grinned, a proud gleam in his eyes. I know. That's why I bought one. You bought one? A ghost account belonging to a publisher that went bankrupt. Distributor accounts could go for tens of millions of yen. There was no way Toyama could afford that on his severance pay alone. He must have taken out a loan in order to make the purchase. But the publishing industry was in a slump nowadays. People just weren't buying books much anymore. Starting up a new publishing company was a beyond risky endeavor. And I've already decided on a name for my company, Minorikawa. Toyama's face was positively beaming. Get this. Heaven Publishing. Heaven. That sounds fatalistic. The idea is that people who work for me will feel like they're in paradise. For all his kvetching about keeping quiet, Toyama was practically exclaiming pretty loudly. Was now exclaiming pretty loudly himself. Without a defibrillator. I messed that up. I mean, I can appreciate your willingness to take the risk, but surely your wife must have had objections, Minorikawa said. Toyama fell silent. He went and opened up the refrigerator. Minorikawa took a peek inside. Its shelves were mournfully spare, holding little besides beer cans and drinking snacks. The missus left me, took her daughter with her. The few scant words painted a picture clearly enough. Toyama grabbed a can of beer and tossed it to his guest. She's cute when she messes up. Many words. I end up like stumbling over the words and saying the wrong words. Or like blurring the words together. No more sob stories, he went on. He briskly cracked open his own can of beer. Weak foam bubbled up from the top. Cheers, Minorikawa, to Heaven Publishing's big debut. He cast everything aside and was striving for a new beginning. If the man had braced himself for the challenge, it wasn't Minorikawa's place to tell him he was making a mistake. Even if it was an uphill battle, he had little chance of winning. Congrats, Toyama. Minorikawa pulled the tab on his beer can. Cheers! The two of them cracked their cans together. Clacked their cans together. English is hard, so it's understandable. I feel like it's when I'm reading so much in a row. Like here, we've been reading for 3 hours, right? I start messing up the words. 1 year had passed since Toyama founded Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa poked his head into the editing office, a bag from the convenience store in hand. Hey boss, how's business? How does it look like it's doing? Toyama sat amidst a veritable mountain of returned stock, his expression bleak. Muzukashi. So true. That's how visual novels go. Yeah, for real. The books were all bulky, non-fiction tomes, not exactly the sort to fly off the shelves. The man couldn't even muster a smile for their reunion. It's been like this for every non-fiction book we put out. Wow, really starting off with the bleak stuff, huh? Because things are bleak. The only thing that's selling is this gossip rag of ours. Minorikawa pulled out some beer cans from his bag, handing one to Toyama. Toyama lifted an issue of 4-star General Gossip from atop his desk. It was Heaven Publishing's one breadwinner, the only thing keeping the company afloat. But the gossip now seemed like it was buried in the red publishers of the publishers in the red of the publishers' non-fiction releases. Okay, thank God. Nothing is as hard as the near replicant VN. Yeah, didn't even have any like imagery for me to visualize what we were talking about. I really did have higher aspirations than this, Toyama sighed, gazing in disappointment upon the piles of unsold books. But here we are, with our gossip magazine as the only viable publication. The beleaguered bookseller chugged his beer. Daddy, I'm hungry. Minorikawa was startled to hear a young child's voice. He turned around to see a little girl nestled between the stacks of returned stock. That's my daughter Tana, Toyama said. It's complicated. She's living with me now. I see. Minorikawa couldn't press for more details with Hana right there. In all likelihood, things with Toyama's ex-wife hadn't been going well. Go on, introduce yourself, Toyama said. This is one of Daddy's work friends. Hana turned to Minorikawa with a bright little grin. Hello, my name's Hana. I'm 6. You want some of this? Minorikawa held. Oh wait, no shit. I thought it was still Hana. It was already Minorikawa, so making like a baby voice. Oh my god, like she's voice that reminds me of bro, what? You want some of this? Minorikawa held out a packet of dried squid he bought to go with the beers. Sure. Hana greedily stuffed her cheeks with the squid. Toyama flashed a sheepish grin. Do you like living with your daddy, Hana? Minorikawa asked, giving the girl's hair a gentle ruffle. Uh-huh, I do. My daddy's amazing. He runs a company. Toyama let out a tiny involuntary sob at his daughter's ready praise. I'll keep at it, Toyama said, looking at his daughter's smiling face. Hana's more important to me than any high aspirations I might have had. I'll keep shoveling out copies of the gossip. I mean, that lovely reminds me of okay, I get it. At least make sure that she's always got something good to eat. So you're from Philippines, maybe? Daddy, this is really tasty. Hana held up the pouch of dried squid. Tears welled up in Toyama's eyes. Next time I'll make sure she has sashimi instead of something like this. Hey, what do you mean something like this? Minorikawa grumbled. I'm the one who bought it. Toyama and his daughter laughed together. Though it was a heartwarming sight, Minorikawa thought, a father and his girl getting along so well. Toyama might have been the hard-hitting journalist, but when it came home at the end of the day, he was just daddy. I don't know why it's making me laugh, because Minorikawa is the one thinking of this. It was only natural for the man, as a father, to put his child above anything else. Ah, cute, she fell asleep. After gorging herself on snacks, Hana fell asleep on the sofa, looking well and truly satisfied. You know, Minorikawa, Hana's happiness means more to me than any lofty artistic ideals I could. Toyama kept his voice low as he regarded his daughter's sleeping face. And from that way forward, Heaven Publishing had shifted its focus to scandal rags with 4-star general gossip as its pillar. Had that been for good or for ill? Whatever the case, Toyama had abandoned his pride. Minorikawa watched him become more and more of a miserable wretch. Minorikawa snapped back to the present as a sheaf of pages appeared in front of his face. Here you go, Chiaki said, radiating anxiety. Right. Minorikawa gave her copy a close read-over and thrust it back out to her. What did you even fix? He asked. Could you please tell me what parts are wrong? She mumbled, hanging her head. What are you talking about? It's just, well, we don't have a lot of time, so I figure if I just fix the parts that need fixing... Chiaki trailed off into an indistinct mutter. Is that how you always go about fixing your copy? Yes. Then you're never gonna get any better. If somebody tells you what's no good, you rewrite the whole thing from scratch. If making fiddly tweaks here and there is what an amateur does. Chiaki dipped her head even deeper, cringing at the reprimand. Minorikawa let out a tiny sigh. Look, what I just told you, that's what Toyama told me when I was first starting out. There were times where he'd have me do dozens of rewrites. At first, I thought he was just pushing me around. But after rewriting things over and over, I realized something. There are a lot of ways you can write about the same thing. And that's what helped me hone my skills as a writer. Chiaki raised her head back up. Oh, wow. Really? If you can get that, then stick with it. Write your submission deadline as close as you can. No, as close as you have to in order to write the best piece you can. Okay, I can do it. I will do it. Finally, Chiaki's face brightened with a smile. That's the spirit. The woman might have talent, but she hadn't realized it yet. She needed to be able to stick to an assignment, even when things got tough. If she didn't make that kind of resolve, she'd never make it as a freelancer. Oh, how touching, Ozu chimed in, applauding. I'm almost moved to tears. They'll make a movie out of this for sure. See, if only I had been acquainted with the sad sap Toyama. We never knew that there would be such an upstanding fellow here who was so good at tough love. Minorikawa shot to his feet and pounded his fist on the desk. That's about enough from the peanut gallery. Hold your tongue, Sagawa snarled. His eyes shone with a vicious gleam. We're getting sick of waiting here. Sagawa, you really are a short-tempered guy, aren't you? Ozu clucked disapprovingly at his underling and then slid a sheet of paper onto Minorikawa's desk. Nevertheless, I'm afraid we do require a decision now. If you'll just stamp here, we'll be on our way. Chiaki stared down at the document. Is this a bond of recognizance? Yeah, that's right. That's what you write when you're transferring a debt. Sagawa puffed himself up proudly. Minorikawa silently looked over the contract. If you don't have a stamp, we'll gladly accept a signature as well, Ozu pointed out. Face it, pal, Sagawa added. If you don't hurry up and sign, we are never gonna stop going after Toyama's daughter. Minorikawa snatched up a pen. Mr. Mino, you can't do this! Think about what you're doing! Chiaki shouted. If you go through with this, you'll just wind up like Mr. Toyama! I won't. Yes, you will! Who the hell do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa, damn it! Fuck, it's like I'm reading a tongue twister. I'm going to land so many scoops that it'll make your head spin. I'm gonna pay back this debt and rebuild Heaven Publishing. But why would you take such a risk? Chiaki sobbed. Minorikawa lowered his voice. Because I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. Aha! Before Minorikawa could sign, Sagawa startled him with a sudden exclamation. Looking up, Minorikawa saw that the loan sharks had seen little Hana standing by the door. Get her! On it, boss! Ozu and Sagawa rushed at the girl. Run! Minorikawa shouted. No, Hana! What the heck? Hana bolted right back at the door, but Ozu managed to snatch her up right as she reached the stairs. Well, I mean, they're taller. And bigger people, they can run, like, they can close the distance easily. Let's be on our way, shall we? A vile grin came to Ozu's cruel face as he headed down the stairwell. Stop! Let her go! Oh no! Minorikawa rushed after them, trying to grab the girl, but Sagawa drove a punch right into his face. Yo, did he just fall down the whole stairs? Ook. It's not even oof. Oog. The pain staggered him. Nevertheless, he managed to press on. Get your hands off. Off that girl. Yo, 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 yo! Shut your damn mouth! Something had slammed hard into his chest. His vision went dark. He felt himself slipping from consciousness. Just before he blacked out, he heard Hana's voice. I'm sorry, Uncle Minorikawa. Sorry? No. I'm the one who should apologize. But before his thoughts got any further, Minorikawa passed out. Is this a to be continued or a bad ending? It feels like a bad ending. What the fuck, man? Hana gets caught. Turns out Hana had been at the police station before this, trying to decide if she should tell the police her father had been killed in the explosion. Someone brought her to Heaven Publishing as a mistake. Damn it! Okay, I have to go back to Kano then. Man! Man! Thank you for the hydrate posture check and stretch. I think it's this. No, wait, no, it's not this. Sorry. Eh! Kano, where is it? So there's talking with Kuze and the need to do something. I guess it is on the need to do something. Maybe if I don't leave, right? Maybe if I don't go anywhere. I'll just call Rumi. I guess. Sorry, Sasayama. Phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made Kano all the more anxious. Then he got a call of his own from Teteno. Okay, it's about the same, except he's in a different location. He's in the station while he's getting the call. I think this is the change because both of Sasayama's options will involve him leaving the station, which could be what gets him to run across Hana. So if he doesn't move at that point in time, possibly he won't have to do anything. He won't have to run into Hana, so he won't bring her to Heaven Publishing. Okay, he hung up, and then he'll be on his way, right? Yeah, now there's a little skip here. So, Hana is safe. There we go. We are good. We are clear, and Minorikawa, you better not die or anything. You're the final one, man. That means Hana won't end up back here then. Maybe he won't die again. Yeah, probably. If Hana won't end up back here, we can probably sign the thing. Gonna pass out now. Hopefully don't miss something sad happening when I was gone for a bit. That's okay. Have a nice sleep. Thank you for dropping by. Alright. Could I just I feel like this is much longer than the last, like, time block Mostly because that last time block only went so far. The last time block, most of them only had like half a time. And then everybody here has like full time. Good night, Chi. Good luck scrambling your 428 Shibuya. Thank you. Have a nice night. Thank you for dropping by. Alright. Here we are. Almost back at the part where he's having a sign. Okay. I wonder if Minorikawa will have anything else going after he signs, or if they'll just keep writing their copies. And when on earth are we gonna find out what really happened to Toyama? Okay, here we are. Unless Toyama walks through the doors right now, but okay. Yeah, here, this is where we were. Because when he was about to sign, they spotted Hana. This time, they won't. Okay, gonna get so many scoops to make your head spin. And rebuild Heaven Publishing. There you go. But why would you take such a risk? Minorikawa lowered his voice. Because I owe him so much. Can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. And then here we go. He signed. Minorikawa readied his pen and signed the document. Alright, Sagawa cheered. Now we're talking. A satisfied grin came to Ozu's face as he reached for the contract. But before he could pick it up, Chiaki snatched it from the desk. And ate it? What the fuck? She's... The balls on this woman. She ate it. What the frick? I'm not letting you do this. Crumpling the paper, she stuffed it right into her mouth. Hey, Sagawa snapped. What the hell are you doing? He tried to force Chiaki's mouth open. Don't you dare, you bitch! Despite his frantic efforts, Chiaki managed to gulp down the wad of paper. Yikes! How? Sagawa blinked a few times. Oh no, you did not just do that. Ozu looked on, dumbstruck. Guess we gotta get a new contract from the office, boss. Bring as many as you want, Chiaki declared. I'll just keep eating them. Girl, you some kind of goddamn... What the frick? Girl, you some kind of damn goat or something? Sagawa shoved Chiaki up against the desk. Ow, cut it out, that hurts! As she struggled to resist, Chiaki lurched towards the desk, planting one of her hands atop the TV remote control. One of her fingers happened to land on the volume up button. Oh, is it gonna say it was Tanaka? The sound from the television soon hit max volume. We have just learned the identity of the victim killed in the explosion. Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical executive. Shibuya resident? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Toyama didn't live in Shibuya. Once again, the victim of the explosion was Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka. The cause of the explosion remains unknown. The police are still in the process of following up several potential leads. The site of the incident remains at an alarming scene, with relief workers continuing to tend to the wounded. Oh my god! She truly is goat. Couldn't help but notice Chiaki eating paper and had to comment, honestly. Bro, all of them are looking at the TV flabbergasted. Bro, wait. I thought Toyama died in that explosion. Everybody is flabbergasted, bro. Huh? Who's Tanaka? To be continued, ain't it? Yeah. I figured all of them be like, wait, what? I thought it was Toyama. Who the fuck is Tanaka? Let's go. Trailer time. Trailer for the next time slot. This is my favorite part. Seeing the trailer. It's always so hype. Let's see it. Oh, only 4 of them. Are you scared about meeting with your father? Oh? Someone's broken through our firewall. Sorry, Mr. Mino. Whoa, wait, what the fuck was that? You'll lose everything. No, Maria. Yeah, that's pretty sad. She was one of my favorite protagonists. Running out of time. That was the achievement. Man, Maria was one of my favorite protagonists. Well, it's slightly less to do. Wait, what, for real? I can't go in between Osawa and Achi like this because Maria is not there. Like, I'm pressing the button, but it's not going. I can only go at it like this, but I can't go to Osawa from Achi. I have to go like that. What about in the time slot? Maria ending. Osawa starts pretty late in again. Minarikawa straight up. Kano straight up. Achi 5 minutes in. Not bad. Not bad at all. We cleared up some like mysteries in this stream within that time block. We learned quite a bit, but oh man, I think I have to call it there. My voice also getting tired, and it's not like we have a lot of time left. Thank you very much for joining today's stream, everybody. I can't believe we already reached the end of Maria's story. I'm sure she's still heavily involved, but no more POV, huh? Well, it is what it is. I'm wondering if next stream will be like, it'll be faster to go through the time block or not. I'm wondering because there's only 4 protagonists left, but we'll see. Only one way to find out, and that's to do it. Thank you for joining today's stream. I'll see you guys on Thursday, I believe, for Sumire, which I'm not sure if we'll do it finish in one stream or not. I heard that it's like a 3-hour game or so, but we will also see that. Looking forward to it because it looks very cute. Thank you, and stick around if you want to raid. Bye bye.